This podcast is independent from my studies at Texas A&M's College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. This is intended to share knowledge and experiences in the field of veterinary medicine and to share the importance of medicine for the pursuit of science and its positive effects on the general public. We can just get going.
Let's do it.
Do you want to introduce yourself
Sure.
first?
So I'm Jordan Tayce. I am on faculty at Texas A&M University. I've been there since 2012. I actually went to both undergraduate and veterinary school at Texas A&M as well, and then moved around a little bit in between before coming back.
And now you're working for a law degree.
Yep, just finished actually. So just completed. This is my final advanced degree. We're done now. So
You don't want to get one more?
no, this is enough. This is the money making
There's
one.
so
yeah.
many more letters though you
I
can
know.
collect.
I don't even. You know, it's interesting. I actually don't even put all my letters behind my name. It's just not my.
When
It's just
would
not me.
when would you need to put your letters behind your name? Like in a presentation?
Presentations, or I guess maybe like a formal demand letter or
Demand.
something for
Fancy.
in terms of law.
Okay.
That's the only time I like putting my letters behind my name is if I have to throw weight around for some reason,
Okay.
and I don't enjoy that typically.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like you at all.
It's not.
Um, why law after vet school?
This is a great question. I interestingly enough, this kind of came up about, I don't know, a couple years ago. I was looking at my retirement. Okay, so what do you have to do to retire?
Mhm.
And if you're working through a state institution, in order to retire with full benefits, you have to do your age plus the years of service have to equal 80. And so I started doing the math. How old am I? How long have I been here? And I needed another 15 years to get to that point. And I love my job. Don't get me wrong. I love what I do, but I'm not the kind of person who can think 15 years in advance.
Mhm.
And so I started to think, oh my gosh, I should start preparing myself for what if I need to do something else? What if I want to retire in some other capacity?
Mhm.
So I started looking at a few different options, and I actually really enjoy contracts and law. I never thought I'd enjoy law as a whole, honestly. Never, never. I'm not really a politics person. I'm not really much of a, I guess I could say I'm not much of a law person, honestly. But
Do
I
you like
really,
arguing?
not particularly, no, actually. And it's funny, like I will never do litigation. I hope not. I've
Mm.
always said if I'm in a courtroom, something's gone wrong. That is not the side of law I want to be on.
Okay.
But I do like contracts. It's really, to me, it's just teaching. It is looking over this
Mm.
document for somebody and helping them one-on-one sit down and realize, what do these words mean? And veterinarians don't know what their contracts say, nor should they, arguably. I'd rather my veterinarians spend time learning about diabetes than non-compete clauses.
Mhm.
But somebody has to be there to help them, and I really found that intriguing. And so I kind of got into it.
Because what you teach in the curriculum kind of is around that, around that topic. Because what was the first class you taught us? It was
Probably like personal finance, budget.
yeah,
Budget, yeah.
yeah. It was like what 20 minutes of you like, all right, this is what a loan is, and we already have loans, but half of us are like, yeah, but I don't really know what I signed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
mm,
And I get that. That's how I was when I was in vet school too, right? I distinctly remember, like, why am I learning things like how to market a practice when I need to be learning how to clean a dog's ears?
yeah.
And now that I've been out for a while, I also see both sides of it. And so it's a tough sell sometimes. I get that. And it's also really important information that needs to be the right amount of information too, I feel like.
I mean, nowadays with corporations getting larger
Mm-hmm.
and new private practices that are kind of single on their own, built from the ground up from one or maybe two veterinarians, and they kind of build everything on their own.
Yep.
They need to market everything on their own. They need to fund everything on their own. That doesn't really happen very much. Do you think that is very important to learn still?
Yeah, I think what's really important to learn, I'm going to look at contracts specifically for a second. I think where that really matters is you think about negotiating with a corporation, they have a team of lawyers at their disposal. And so it's important for the veterinarian to be able to protect themselves and have at least somebody who's got their back.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you think about things like budget and finances and how people are paid, I think, at least in a veterinary education, like the curriculum, I think what's important is teaching somebody to be a good associate. They should understand how a practice works so they know what they can do for the practice. I think our curriculum generally does not discuss practice ownership. That's kind of the purview of continuing education. That's the after you've been out in practice for a little bit area.
Okay. Uh, yeah, because I never really see myself as starting something afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to join in on something. I just don't have the desire to
Mm.
build something new, at least in regards to a vet practice. It just there's so many everywhere and a lot of great ones, and I feel like a lot of ones that you know joining in on you could still help build
Yeah.
in a way. And so even if you don't start the practice, you can like become that associate and then join in and then help build it. Um,
I
I
think that's a really big thing. Like you can buy into that practice and help build and maybe even take over that existing practice one day.
mhm.
You don't have to start from scratch necessarily. You can if you want to, but it's not always required.
Yeah, that would be a long game to
Yeah,
play. It's like I'm going to take this over one day, and it's like, how long would that be? Because some veterinarians stick around for a long time. Um,
true.
uh, but what specifically? I mean, you do so many different kind of lectures
Hmm.
with us, with professional skills and critical thinking. Do you wait? Is it critical thinking specifically, or is it more of lectures? I can't remember.
I'm primarily on the professional skills side. I hope I can bring some critical thinking into those lectures, but I'm not specifically in like that track of the curriculum.
If you could describe what you teach in a like in its entirety, what
Sure.
would it be?
So I'd say the primary aspects of the professional skills that I'm involved with are communications. So, you might just call it bedside manner, so to speak. Ethics, personal finance, so budget, insurance, credit, etc. Um, now I'm actually going to be starting this year, taking on some of the third year negotiations and contract material. I'm actually starting a new elective this semester for second years as well about animal and veterinary law. So I'm
Hmm.
excited for that one.
Uh, who did it before the contract stuff?
Oh, so Lance Rosa has been doing it for a number of years.
Okay.
So he was actually a classmate of mine in veterinary school.
Oh.
Also earned his JD long before, 10 years ago, maybe somewhere around there. And then he'll still be coming down a little bit, but he lives up in Nebraska. And
Hmm.
so it's quite a lot of travel for him. So I'm going to help take off a little bit of that from his plate.
So DVM was his second professional degree, and
He did, well, he had a master's first, then DVM, then JD.
oh, okay. So he,
So I did mine in a different order, I guess. So
huh,
we all have similar degrees though, yeah.
huh. See, I don't have that desire to go out and be like, yeah, let me go tack on
Yeah.
law. That sounds like a lot of
You might
reading.
one day, you never know.
Is it really that much? Is law that a lot of reading? Because it does
Yes.
seem like a lot of reading.
Yeah. I get asked a lot what was harder, vet school or law school, and it's apples and oranges.
Okay.
It is very much very different. Law school is a lot more reading, a lot more I don't want to say independent thinking. That's not fair to veterinary school, but it's very, very rare in law school that you get a lecture with slides and notes to follow along.
Hmm.
Very rare. It's typically you go read these cases and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about these cases.
Even like the basic courses,
Mm-hmm.
because we kind of do that in our classes, but much later in the curriculum after we have like all the basics down, and even like pathology and ClinPath where we're learning all the diagnostics. And it's like, okay, now we can actually go look at this case and we can talk about it,
Yeah.
which is one of the classes you teach, or at least help teach. Um, you can you kind of like not skip, but it's unnecessary to have the basic classes like that at the beginning of law?
I think a lot of times in law school, it would be similar in some respects to like a problem-based learning approach in veterinary school, where it's a case study. Okay, we're going to look at, Fluffy the dog. He presents for this, this, that. Now go look up in a book and find what your differentials might be. Kind of similar to that in many regards. I think in law school, I guess for me, one of the big differences again, it's the reading. It's you're having to read and analyze that whole case. You might have to read multiple cases to really distill, oh, what is this rule and how does it apply in situation X versus situation Y?
Hmm. Because I guess I'm trying to think of a as a lawyer, which I don't think I'll ever get there. But because you guys take certain rules and you apply it, like you said, to multiple situations,
Mm-hmm.
but will in med, we take a case and we're like, okay, what's going on here? And then there are like broad categories. Like if it is diabetes, there are certain diagnostic tools that you use, but not every case is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of similar in that way. Like if you had I mean, let's take diabetes. You know, the way that you would treat diabetes for a 12-pound dog that's recently diagnosed might be very different than a 60-pound dog that's in, diabetic ketoacidosis, but the treatment is still more or less the same, right? You're still going to be monitoring insulin, you're still going to be looking at what glucose is, and then you have all the surrounding electrolytes and everything that you need to worry about. Kind of similar in law in that regard. If you have Mr. Jones suing Mr. Smith on one hand, and then you have, Mr. X suing Mr. Y on another, it's still going to be the same rules that you apply to the law, but the circumstances of each of their cases might be different, and so you might reach different outcomes even under the same rules.
Okay. What does the day-to-day look like as like a vet lawyer?
Yeah, so again, I primarily am interested in contract law.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that regard, what typically happens is somebody would send us their contract. They say, look, I'm looking to sign with this practice. Here's the information. Here's the contract they presented to me. And then I would read through it. I'd mark it up. I'd say, here's some areas. I'd kind of put it against the norm. So I might say, okay, for this job, let's say it's a surgeon. Surgeons are typically being offered this amount of money, this percent production, this much time off, this much time for board study. Here's what you're offering. So here's where you stack up against the norm. Then here's where you might stack up in this area. You're in California. The cost of living is a lot higher than it is in Wyoming.
Hmm.
So you might do this and that. Then I'll look at some of the legal language too and say, okay, here's where the legal language is protecting you, and here's where some areas I think we want to improve to help protect you more. And then I would have a Zoom call with that person, a one-on-one session to talk it through with them, talk through negotiation points, and then help get them back to their employer to be able to negotiate that contract.
Okay. Now, if I ask a question that is ignorant, that's because I don't know anything about law.
Of course,
Really,
love it.
most of my knowledge about law is from the show Suits.
Right. Okay. Never
um,
seen it. Just FYI.
what? Man, it's okay, but it's fun. It's entirely litigation and
Okay.
drama, so and very unrealistic, I'm assuming. But when I guess I didn't consider after graduating and looking at a contract, I knew that I would like have to look at it carefully and really
Mhm.
like judge this contract over this contract
Yep.
for this place over that place. But I never thought of bringing it to somebody else, like to like you and say, hey, read this for me. Is that common for, I guess, most professions? And it's just not like no one really, at least in my experience, no one really talks about it in the hospital. Like the fourth years, they're probably doing it to a degree. I don't hear about it.
I think I can't speak for most professions, obviously. For veterinary medicine, it's becoming essentially commonplace. It's
Okay.
pretty darn close to common. I'd almost consider it the norm now for veterinary medicine. I think that's changed a lot. 20 years ago, a lot of things were handshake deals. That's pretty rare today. I think a lot of, and again, some of it's with the rise of corporations, right? They have a team of lawyers. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, like I said earlier, you should have one too. But um, yeah, I think people are just becoming more aware of it. I think it's just becoming a lot more commonplace. And I mean, I'm obviously biased, but I would highly recommend it. And I say that not only I'm biased because, it's what I like to do, but also we see the flip side of that. We see
Mm-hmm.
what happens when things go wrong and somebody's trying to get out of a contract and can't, or they find out, oh, I owe this person's demanding this much money from me, or this person's demanding I don't work in the city anymore. And these are things that could have been alleviated in the first place if the contract had been reviewed and edited accordingly.
When you say things go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
how could that happen?
So a lot of it's just relationship breaking down. It's just, the person goes to work at a clinic and they think it's going to be this grand magical place, and then either it's not what their expectations were, or something changes in the clinic. So maybe they go there because they're really excited to work with doctors A and B. Then those doctors leave, or one goes out on maternity leave for a while, one takes a new job, the clinic, sells to somebody else, some of the technicians leave, whatever happens. the relationship's just not the same as it once was. And so the person wants to leave and find a new place of work. And sometimes that's difficult depending on what their contract says.
Hmm. Hmm. Because what is a? I'm assuming that there's a certain amount of time that you sign for initially coming out of vet school, like as a new grad.
Yeah, it
Is
can
that true?
vary. So there's kind of two different main forms of contracts. There's either something with at will or a term length. Okay, so term length is not uncommon. I wouldn't recommend more than 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from the data. Most graduates don't stay more than 1 year at their first job. I think it's 60 or 70% literally only stay a year.
Why? Because I knew one of the first vets I worked for. She was great, and
Uh-huh.
everyone loved her, and she loved the practice that she was at. But she was like, I want new experience somewhere else. Is that what the mindset is?
Yeah, it's either that or life changes,
Mm-hmm.
a big one. Maybe somebody's, getting married or they're having a kid, they want to move closer to the family. That's often the case, particularly for, recent graduates in that age bracket. Sometimes it's just not the right fit or it's not what they were hoping for. Sometimes they want different experiences. So it's not uncommon to see somebody leave after, a year, maybe a little more. So, that's kind of the term length, but always you want something. It's called an at will provision. It lets you leave when you want with appropriate notice. So you might give them 30 days notice, kind of like the 2 weeks notice, same thing.
Yeah.
A little longer professional courtesy, but you might give them 30 days notice. Hey, I'm leaving, but only if your contract allows that.
Hmm.
Some contracts, they could lock you in for a year and you're not leaving,
Hmm.
essentially. Or if you do leave, you have to pay damages.
Hmm. And I'm assuming that's pretty hefty
It
of a
can be.
fine.
It can be. And it's usually something that they'd have to calculate with a court and figure out, oh,
Hmm.
you left, we're not earning. If you earn $5,000 a day for the company, they're going to go to the court and say, look, he's leaving now and we're not making $5,000 a day. So he should pay us that $5,000 a day, that kind
Hmm.
of thing. And then there'd be an argument back and forth. How much should I actually pay? Again, all of that can be easily avoided if there's just a clause that says you can leave.
Yeah. The idea of getting a new associate veterinarian within 30 days seems daunting. What what do you think is the best amount of time to give leave before moving positions?
The norm is 30 to 60 days in general practice, 60 to 90 for specialists. I, you're not wrong, right? It is daunting. And in today's job market, most veterinary practices probably couldn't refill a position 30 to 60 days.
Hmm.
Um, the flip side to that, though, is if it's not a good match with the employee, the employer probably doesn't want them there
Yeah.
longer, too. So sometimes you have to kind of weigh what's the morale of the staff going to be if we keep somebody around who doesn't want to be here versus, yeah, okay, we're not going to be able to find somebody right away. There's no perfect answer to that, obviously.
Hmm. Is law everything you thought it was going to be now that you're at the end of it?
That's a great question. I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed law school, which I don't know if that's something a lot of law students say, but like I really enjoy learning, first of all, to be fair. And you just kind of see the world in a different way now, I feel like and it's not always a good thing, right? I'll be walking down the street and I'll be like, "Oh, there's a risk. Oh, that's a risk." Right? That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But it's just kind of fun to be able to see things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's made me a better person, probably. I don't know.
It's like going to restaurants after working in a restaurant. You're like, I don't
Ex-
want to see the back.
That's exactly right.
I don't want to know it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a former student who was a major league umpire in a
Oh,
previous
wow.
career. Yeah, and he can't watch baseball anymore. Because he says when he watches baseball, when the guy's running the bases, he's just looking at the feet and who touches the base first, basically. Like
Huh.
he can't get out of that umpire mindset because he did it as a profession for years. So it's kind of the same thing. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. I think I'm good with ignorance.
yeah. So I think I saw your keyboard downstairs. Are you a
Oh,
musician
yeah.
or?
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a loose term. I used to play the trumpet a lot
Okay.
back in high school,
Yeah.
and then I stopped going in undergrad. COVID really kind of
Yeah.
threw that out the window, and I got the keyboard actually during finals week
Uh-huh.
this past semester because I was like, I should learn the piano. I know an instrument. Everyone says piano is like the first one, and
Yeah.
I should figure it out. And I was really tired of studying.
Yeah.
Admittedly, maybe not the best idea, but got on Facebook Marketplace and just bought a keyboard.
Yeah. Good for you.
But no, it's super fun. Are you a musician?
I used to, I mean, back in high school, played the drums.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. Like when you listen to people play a trumpet, you're probably like, "Ah, I could hit that note or not, you know?
It's more like, wow, they're so much better than I was.
Yeah.
Like the competition back at my high school was so immense that I was perfectly fine saying, yeah, I'm not the best,
Mm,
and I got substantially far and progressed pretty high within that area in Texas, and it was fun. It was a lot of work, and the problem with the trumpet is you got to play every day, multiple times a day. And other instruments are probably going to get it. Like people who play the piano are probably going to get upset if I say that you don't have to. Like if you take a day off and then you come back to it the next day, it's not like your fingers have changed shape. It's almost like your lips um, are misshapen after a
really?
day of not playing. It sets you back so far, and it sucks. It's I mean every weekend, every vacation, everywhere I went, I brought my trumpet and I was doing something with it, and it was annoying. It was frustrating. And when I stopped doing it, I was like, the first day I was like, oh, I don't need to practice. Like I don't need to practice today. It was always something I had to do, and now I don't have to do it anymore. All these years later, I'm like, no, I like music. Now it's something I get to do.
Yeah.
I don't really play the trumpet very much anymore. I could pick it up and play like half decently,
Hmm.
but nothing like I used to. And when I hear like, I went back to my high school a few months ago, and I mean, they're still amazing. Like the kids are now who are in the band are they're even better than the top kids that when I was there. And so I was like people make an all state every year
Hmm.
for all 4 years, and I'm like, whoa, it's just incredible. And I'm like, I'm completely content being like, yeah, you were better than me, like earlier than when I started. Like, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Um, but did you, or do you know? Because he's a fourth year now. Do you know Michael Lira?
Hmm. Yep.
He was a drummer.
Oh, really?
He, oh shoot, he did DCI.
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really? No
Oh
kidding.
yeah. It was I um he could tell you a lot about it. Super cool. He did it in undergrad, it would have to be, during the summer. And I sometimes I would forget, and he'd be like, yeah. I was like, what are you doing this summer? He's like, oh, I gotta go to camp and
Yeah.
play and stuff. I'm like, what? Man.
No kidding. That's awesome.
But no, he's super good. I've actually never seen him play. I should get him to do that. But because drums are they're hard to get different places.
Yeah. I'll have to ask him next time I see him. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Did you like play competitively?
No. No, no. High school, and then I joined like an undergraduate organization for drummers
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to join the corps and be in the band and everything. So I still had the chance to play some drums and have some fun, but high school was kind of the end of my. I peaked.
Yeah.
I peaked in high school. That's.
Hey, me too. No, the core is intimidating. I. It's funny. They direct you obviously like to work out and stuff, and I see them running. Back in
Mhm.
undergrad, I would go to the gym and get there at like 6 a.m. and I'd see them running, and I'd be like, I'd be perfectly fine doing all the things they do. I would not be okay if somebody was forcing me to do those things.
Mm,
It's very different. And so the core, I was like, I'm okay.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't. I mean, teach their own. It wasn't for me, but.
Uh, what was undergrad like for you? What
Uh,
major were you, first of all?
so I entered undergrad as an electrical engineering major.
Oh.
Yeah, that lasted about a semester, I think. And I just knew it wasn't for me. It just didn't feel right. So then I switched over to animal science. Interestingly enough,
Really? You weren't a BIMS
um, maybe I
major?
was. I can't remember. I
You
might have
don't?
switched. Well, I might have gone to BIMS, and then I know I ended animal science.
Okay.
I know that. I can't remember if BIMS was in between, but for me, I wanted. I guess, and the things may have changed significantly, right, since 20 years ago, whenever I graduated. But animal science was kind of the more hands-on route versus BIMS seemed more the classroom one.
Yeah.
Again, that might be different, but that's why I went animal science. So, and I didn't know anything about large animal. Like I was a city kid,
Hmm.
or suburban at least. So I didn't really know anything about large animal side of things. So I thought, yeah, give it a shot.
Where are you from?
Originally from Carrollton, it's just north of Dallas.
Yeah, I know. That's where I'm from.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Did I know this?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, it was Hebron High School is where I went.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I went to Newman Smith.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Where in Carrollton did you live?
It's technically we're in Louisville, but we're like
Hmm.
on the border of Carrollton.
Mhm.
I-21
Yep.
kind of splits us. There's a big Kroger by that section. That makes probably it's not a big landmark, but um, yeah, that's funny.
That's interesting. Yeah, so I lived on probably God, this has been so long. It's hard to me think of words. Old Denton and Frankfurt,
Oh yeah.
somewhere around there, probably.
Yep.
So it's really funny. I think I went back to Carrollton once in maybe like 2022 or 2023, and it's like I don't even recognize that because I grew up there. This was 30 years ago.
Oh
So
yeah.
a totally different city now.
I mean, from when I was real young, it's way different when I left.
Yeah.
And now I go back and I'm like, well, all of this is new, and it blew up.
Yeah, I hear people, they're like, "Oh yeah, Carrollton's really popular," and I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Because in my mind, it's where I grew up as a kid. There's like it was a dry city back then, even.
Mm-hmm. Oh really?
Yeah, Carrollton used to be one of the dry cities. So if you wanted to buy alcohol, you had to go to Addison. To
Hmm.
buy like an alcohol, like a liquor store or
Mhm.
wine store, you had to go to Addison. You could get alcohol in a restaurant if you were over 21, obviously, if you had a membership. There was like
Whoa.
it was really weird. I can't remember. You had to have like a city membership card or something
So it's not
weird.
even a membership to the restaurant; it's a
I can't remember.
membership to the city.
I would honestly have to ask my dad. I don't. This
Huh.
is how long it's been, but it was like you could get one. Like there's so many restaurants. There was a Chili's, right? When you went to Chili's, you could if you didn't have your card, you could like buy one for $1 or something. It was really strange. I can't remember the rules,
Huh.
but it was a dry city back then, except for in restaurants. Restaurants had stuff if you had the membership, basically.
That's crazy. Because now, I mean, at least where I'm there, it's not at all. Like there's liquor stores everywhere.
Uh huh.
Um, hmm. The So you were city kid, I guess. Back then, yeah, yeah, it had to be. It still was like suburbia because it's not
Yeah.
downtown. It's just suburbans
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Certainly aren't like ranches. I think there are like little plots of people who are like sticking it out,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like giant neighborhoods everywhere, and it's just them, and they got a herd of cattle, and you would see them maybe once a month when you drove by. But outside of that, I definitely didn't see very many livestock. And so that was my mindset when I came here for undergrad was uh, I applied for animal science, didn't really understand what that meant. And on like Animal Science 107,
Yeah.
when it's like the basics, okay, here's all the breeds of large animals. I was like, where's the dogs and cats? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, I get it now. But I was like, this is good for me. It's
Yeah.
new.
That's how I felt too. Honestly, same thing.
How'd you feel like getting out of it? Because you don't work in production. Do you want to work with large animals at all?
I didn't. So I started working at a veterinary clinic, small animal clinic it wasn't in Carrollton. It would have been in Farmers Branch, I guess, probably. Either way, Carrollton Farmers Branch. It was just a one doctor solo small animal clinic when I
Mhm.
started working there in undergrad. And I kind of entered vet school thinking that's what I wanted to do. So I went straight from undergrad to vet school.
Mhm.
And so kind of thinking that. And then after a little while, I realized, I want to get some experience in practice, but it's not where I want to end up and be forever.
Mhm.
I just knew that wasn't for me.
What about it?
I think I just knew I loved teaching. I was that kid in undergrad. I would tutor classmates. I would tutor other people. Not undergrad, excuse me, in vet school. I'd help tutor other folks. When I was a fourth year, I'd kind of send cases to the third years and say, hey, look, you can look forward to this kind of stuff. Check this out. Here's what we've been doing.
Mhm.
I just knew that was for me. And so had the chance after graduation to practice a little bit just to, again, get my feet wet, be in the trenches, understand what it's like.
Mhm.
And then eventually found my way back to academia.
Hmm. And I mean, is that everything you hoped it would be?
I mean, I do. I love my job, right? It's not always perfect. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of red tape in academia.
Yeah.
But that's honestly, that's also, to be fair, like any large corporation's probably gonna have a lot of red tape too. So I don't know how much different that would be. But I mean, teaching is my favorite part of my job. I absolutely love what I do. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of fun. Every day's it feels different. Even if I'm teaching the same lesson, it feels different.
Hmm.
Versus private practice, I kind of got bored of let's talk about a fecal. That
Yeah.
just and private practice for me was also very slow. To be fair, so I when I graduated, it was 2008. So it was right during the recession. I moved to Las Vegas, which was one of the hardest hit cities,
Hmm.
and I was on a new side of town. So I was only a second doctor at this new practice. And so it was very, very slow. I think it had only been open maybe 6 months before I started. I'd have some days where I'd see 2 or 4 cases a whole day.
That's it.
Yeah. And a lot of
Ooh.
times it was a new couple moving into a new house, getting their first dog. And I got kind of tired of, you
That
know,
conversation.
yeah,
All
I
right.
did.
What do you know about? Oh, okay, nutrition,
Exactly. Yeah.
spay, neuter, all this.
Yeah. I kind of got tired of that side of things. And the practice that I was originally at has grown significantly since then
Mm-hmm.
because the city's filled out, the economy's changed. So I think they're up to 6 doctors now,
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
Um, but for me, it was a very different experience, and that's not where I wanted to be forever, and I knew that, and so I
Mm.
genuinely love teaching.
Hmm. And so you graduated, you went to Las Vegas,
Correct.
and then
Small animal practice in Las Vegas,
okay.
and then after that, moved to London, England, got a master's degree before I made my way back here.
Oh, how did I not know that? What?
Yeah, it was
How long?
mostly an excuse to move to London.
Fair enough. What was it like over there?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely. I was thinking about taking a trip back in a few weeks just because I miss England. I
Yeah.
really, really loved it there. I think what I loved is it's such a central hub. You can go anywhere. I once took a trip to Sweden because it was $25 for round trip flight.
Mm.
Like it was
That's
January
crazy.
and it was miserable
Hmm.
and it was the coldest I've ever been in my life. But for $25, yeah, I'm gonna go to Sweden. But there's just I love London. There's so much culture there. There's so many different people. You could walk down the street and you could listen to 6 different languages and not even recognize any of them.
Hmm.
And it was just so. It was just such a different experience than growing up in Texas and living in Texas. Um, and then yeah, okay, I moved to Las Vegas, but still. And I had traveled before, but living somewhere is very, very different.
Yeah. Because you were there, it was for a master's, so I'm assuming 2, 3 years?
This is 1 year.
Okay.
So one of the reasons I went, besides the trip to London, was I had wanted to go to a school that had an education degree that was near a veterinary school or associated with a veterinary school. So if there was potential for collaboration, I could try to do that.
Hmm.
And so I was looking at either England or Georgia. I know, big difference there. But the 1 year master's in England was the same price as a 2 year master's in Georgia. And
Hmm.
so I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna move to London for that. So that's
Pretty
how I
sick
ended up
thing
there.
to put on your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I've always wanted to go to Europe. I'll go eventually, when
Yeah.
I'm not poor, but
I mean, if you can find it, take the chance now. Like, where have you traveled before?
I have been I've been to South Africa on
Oh,
a study
nice.
abroad, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it would be really hard to go there like on my own, and so I was really glad I could go there on a study abroad where they're like, okay, we're gonna take you, and they showed us Johannesburg
Yeah.
from afar. We didn't go downtown, um, and then we moved out a couple hours outside of Johannesburg to ranches and did some vet work throughout that area, and I mean, it was so cool. It's like a whole new world over there, and all the animals that are their wildlife. It's like I've only seen you on TV or in a
Right.
zoo. So, but different kind of cool than the European vibe. But no, I've heard that going to Europe is like going from country to country is like going not even like state to state in the U.S. It's like city to city within a specific state because it's only what a couple hours, if
Oh, yeah.
any, to go to a different
Yeah.
country.
Easy. I mean, from England, England to France on the train, maybe 3 hours total, including like the time to get on board the train. Like,
Hmm.
it's just, yeah, it's incredible. I cannot recommend enough just to everybody, just travel. It doesn't even matter where. Just see different people and different cultures and learn. I can't recommend that highly enough to people.
What do you think about travel? Because I know a couple of people who are like, all I want to do is leave. All I want to do is go and travel somewhere and experience the world and do all these things. And my mindset is, I want to do that too, but I don't have any money. I, I'm kind of, if I didn't do a professional program, then I would just be working, and I would have this debt from undergrad, and I need to work. Like, it almost feels like I need to justify the paying off the sacrifice I made in college before saying, okay, now let's go have fun and actually spend the money and go enjoy the things. Is
I,
that a bad mindset?
I don't think it's a bad mindset. I think everybody's different on how they want to approach it. For me, I think the only concern I would have with that mindset is like, you got to be careful that the goalposts just don't keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because one day it might be I just want to pay off undergrad. Then it's, oh, I got to pay off vet school. Then it's I got to pay off my car. Then it's I got to pay off my mortgage. And by the end, you haven't traveled.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I totally get that. Like, I work with all vet students. I am now looking at contracts of residents and folks who've been earning very little for a number of years. And then they're about to come into some money. So, yeah, they're going to start taking advantage. But, there's also things you can do that maybe aren't like the most expensive thing on earth. I remember I stayed in a hostel in Cambodia once for $1. It was, and you just had to find it. Like, it was a brand new hostel.
Mm-hmm.
Cambodia, first of all, admittedly, a very poor socioeconomic country.
Mm-hmm.
So, cost of living there is very cheap in general. And it was a new hostel, and they just wanted reviews on their website. And so they were letting people stay for $1 just so they'd get more people in so they could get more reviews. And it's the cheapest place I've ever stayed. It was actually quite nice, honestly, for $1.
How do those hostels work? Because I've heard that some are just free and you just go and you stay the night there. And I'm like, that sounds dangerous.
I've never seen a free hostel. I've seen couch surfing can be free. I used to do that. I haven't done that in a very, very long time.
What does that mean?
It's an online community, couchsurfing.probably.org or com or something. And essentially it's people who host each other to essentially surf on sleep on their couch for a night, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so I stayed at somebody's place in Belgium once, and I stayed, I don't even remember. So I've hosted some people, and it's just for people who are traveling and they want to meet new folks who are local and maybe see the world.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, you're supposed to return in kind. So you're supposed to be a good host and help show them the city and teach them things. And then in return, somebody else is supposed to do that for you at some point. So that's all like free. But hostels generally are cheaper. You're going to be sleeping in a room with, 12 other people. So you got bunk beds. You better bring some earplugs and stuff. But it's a good chance to get out there and meet other humans if that's of interest.
What a weird, there's got to be a lot of trust with that system.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. And the fact that, because I only hear it in regard to for people, usually younger people, are like, I want to go do this. I'll go stay in a hostel. And even that couch surfing thing, I've never heard of that before. And I feel like if it was going wrong, like if there was something significantly dangerous where things are actually happening that people don't want, then we would all know about it. So
yeah,
I guess it's working.
Yeah,
the way it's intended.
Yeah, nothing's perfect, but yes, there is certainly a big trust issue with anything like that. If nothing else, your property, and you leave it there for the day, so you need to lock it up, and you need to be vigilant and pay attention to the world around you generally.
Mm-hmm.
But it is hostels typically are younger folks, and I have a feeling a lot of that is, like you said, it's money, right? When you're older and you have more money and you don't want to have to sleep in a room with 12 other random strangers, you can just have your own room and your own stuff. I get that. But it's an opportunity too to, on a budget, get out and see different places. And,
yeah.
Flights are usually the most expensive. But even the nice thing about a hostel too is a lot of times they have kitchens and pots you can use, so you can cook your own dinner really cheap and be able to travel on as cheap as you want.
Where would you want to go now that you haven't traveled to?
That I have not traveled to? That's a good question. I have some friends who may be going to the Galapagos Islands next year, so I might try to tag along on that. I have not been to South America or Africa yet, so I would love to do that. And Australia, I haven't hit that continent either.
Have you been to Asia?
Yep, a couple times.
Where?
So my first trip to Asia was Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand. I don't know, actually, I'll blend together. It might not be my first trip.
Wow.
I've done Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. So Japan was one of my favorite. I would go back to Japan in a heartbeat. I've been looking into going back to Japan. Loved it there.
What about Japan? Because one of our classmates went to Japan, and he had, I mean, showed us pictures,
Yeah.
looked amazing.
It's just it's so different than anywhere else I've ever been. It genuinely, like, the people are lovely. They're also very, I'm completely stereotyping right now, but it's as a culture, they're very reserved,
Yeah.
very obedient, and I'm going to put that word in quotes. Like, you won't see people jaywalk in Japan.
Hmm.
And it's the strangest, and like, it's not strange. It's so different from
Yeah.
anywhere else. Like, if it says don't cross, you wait.
Hmm.
Even if there's no cars coming and there's no chance of any problem, you wait because that's what you're supposed to do.
Sounds like my kind of people. I'll sit at a stoplight when it's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
is coming. I'm like, it's red. It shouldn't be.
Right.
But I'll sit here.
Yeah. It's so different. There's no trash cans on the streets, but they're the cleanest streets you'll ever see.
Hmm.
And so people hold on to their trash and then they take it home and throw it away there. And you compare that with almost any other country where that's not the case.
I
if
bet
you ever,
they got to be like pretty on it with trash because it's an island and it's full of people and
yeah. Oh no, but no doubt. It's the kind of that culture of respect of
Yeah.
we're not going to have this public trash. And you'll actually see, interestingly, I don't know if you watch soccer at all, the World Cup's coming up. One of the Japanese traditions is the fans after the game, they go around and clean up the stands.
what?
Yeah, you'll see them. You will see some of the Japanese fans after a game pull out trash bags and they'll go and kind of clean up the stands after other fans. It's just
Huh.
it's just that's part of the culture. It's just what you do. You take care of things.
That's cool. Now, granted, would I want that here? I've sat through an entire A&M football game before, and especially when it's a 11 a.m. game and it's just blazing hot. I'm like, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah.
And this person's like spilled beer everywhere. I don't need to clean up there. Like, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like you kind of have to, like, when you travel somewhere, you only get a snapshot of the people that are there. And so it's like, within context, this is what I observed.
Yes.
And that is okay. And then you move on.
Yeah. And that's, to me, one of the big things when you do travel. As much as possible, it's nice to immerse yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. It's easier said than done, right? But where possible, to immerse yourself. And that's one of the things I love is just seeing the day-to-day life. One of my favorite travel experiences was Vietnam, just crossing the street, which sounds really stupid. But
Was it like a special street? Or?
no, just a street. But not everybody. Probably 95% of vehicles there are motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't stop for pedestrians. So when you cross the street, you just start walking and they swerve around you and they go around you.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's terrifying. It is absolutely exhilarating. One of the most adrenaline, I'm not even joking.
Huh.
Just crossing the street, you will get this adrenaline rush. But that's the day-to-day life as a pedestrian. It's not going to see a really tall tower or something. I was just walking to a market.
And I imagine did you go and see the nature there in Thailand?
Yeah, so in Thailand, a little bit I got to go see. We kind of did a few cities, and then I got to go to one of the islands out there. Very gorgeous, very pretty.
I might be thinking of Vietnam and the nature there.
Also beautiful. I mean, both the
Yeah.
areas are very beautiful. Vietnam has some lovely caves. There's kind of these cliffs, which I'm gonna fail my pronunciation, so I won't try. Really, really gorgeous areas. Thailand, really well known for kind of their islands, which have admittedly are touristy, not a bad thing, right? That's understandable.
happens,
Tourists go
yeah.
to beautiful areas. So,
Do you know languages to the places that you travel?
nah, a little. I usually learn 3 to 4 phrases everywhere I go.
Okay.
Every language I go to, I try to learn hello, how are you, thank you, and cheers. Those 4 phrases, literally everywhere I go. And then I've found that with a smile will get you in more doors than anything else. You're just friendly and you try. That's really meaningful to people.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all used to. It's like, oh, it's a tourist American. It's like,
yeah,
oh, this is a nice tourist American.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
mean, that's
great.
the difference. When you go to Korea, it's different to be a tourist American versus you walk up to somebody and you smile and you say, "Oh, 감사합니다." How are you? I think that's 감사합니다. Now I'm questioning if that's thank you. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. The 13 people that would watch this,
Yeah, okay.
definitely don't know.
You're gonna have one Korean viewer out there who's gonna write you an angry letter that he said the word thank you instead of how are you.
Well, that'll be my first comment.
Okay.
So sick. um, the is it true that over in Europe they're not so nice to American tourists? Because I've heard the countries in Asia that they are nice and respectful if you are nice and respectful. But I've also heard that if you go like France, they're like, American, go away.
It depends. I mean, it's kind of both, right? Like you in the bigger cities where I'm sure folks are tired of. And to be fair, like I imagine somebody in New York feels the exact same way,
Oh yeah,
right? I don't want to say overrun with tourists, but there's a lot of tourism there, and if you're living there and you're stuck in traffic and you're probably just tired of it, you're probably not going to be friendly at the end of the day.
yeah.
But I mean, I've been to some lovely areas in France where the people were really wonderful, and again, maybe that's because I was just walked in and I'm not even going to try my French. I don't know. Merci. No, that's thank you. Bonjour, right? Just walk in with a
Hmm.
smile and bonjour. Um, then, yeah, the people smile back.
Hmm. I have been to New York. My family went to New York City, and that was a trip. Walking around there, um, I mean, there's no dirt, and that feels silly to say, but like the major cities I have been to, there's some kind of dirt somewhere. But even I went to San Francisco, and even there it was shocking. Like there was a tree in the ground, and the hole was probably this big,
Mm,
and that was it. That was only dirt you could. And I was like, there are roots somewhere, and they get water somehow.
right.
And this tree, it's a decently sized tree, and it was green. I was like, I don't know how this is happening. And in New York, there were like zero trees in like certain parts of it, and then there were a couple of trees in other parts, and same situation. It's like small hole in the ground and tree, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the concrete jungle.
Yeah, it was very strange, especially coming from College Station.
Right.
Even the DFW area, there's a lot of dirt there. It's not that city esque, but do you like the rural aspect of College Station?
I tolerate College Station. No,
You
it's
could say that.
no,
I would say that.
yeah, it's tough. I've been here so long now that I mean, I will admit it's a lot better than it was when I was an undergrad. Right, the city has grown significantly. There's a lot more to do. And yeah, okay, it's not Austin, it's not Houston, it's not Dallas, sure, but there's still things to do. There's plenty of HEBs and all the necessities of life, the things that you need are here,
Hmm.
and it still has a small town feel, which I actually kind of like. Like you'll go out somewhere to a restaurant and you'll probably run into somebody despite the fact that it's over 200,000 people or whatever it is now,
Hmm.
which I kind of like. And at the same time, it's now become big enough where that you can avoid people if you want to.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I've lived in College Station. God, I have to do the math to see how long. Probably 20 years now. So I guess it's just kind of home at this point. And
Do you see people that you recognize everywhere? I feel like after 20 years.
yeah, and I used to be a lot more involved in the community. I'm not as much anymore, but when I was a lot more involved, yeah, you ran into people everywhere.
Hmm.
And now I see the people and I just can't remember their names. The difference.
That's the worst. I'm the worst with names, and I feel so bad. I could recognize anybody's face,
Yeah.
and I'd know a lot about them, and then, but I feel bad not saying their name. Um, but no, I talked to Colton Pittman.
Hmm.
He just graduated this
Yep.
past year, and he's leaving. He did his undergrad, his master's in vet school here, and something we talked about is he was lived here for 10 years, and he had the same like mindset where he would go places and he recognized people almost anywhere he went.
Yep.
Built a lot of relationships to just the people that lived here, and he was kind of sad thinking of leaving, and then actually leaving in a little bit. He of like, oh, I'm not going to see these people anymore. Which like back in the suburban world of Louisville and Carrollton, it's like, if you didn't want to see anybody you knew, you could go somewhere, and that's definitely possible.
Right.
Um, I almost like I I act as if like when I go out into like HEB, I'm like, I will not see anybody I know here. And then that's hardly ever the case. Like today, I saw someone who worked for the school and they like tapped me on the shoulder in HEB. And I was like, it took me a second. I was like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's out of context. Yeah.
Yeah. But uh, do you see yourself like moving to the city or suburban area?
I don't know. I mean, the I love my job is the thing,
Hmm.
right? And so most veterinary schools in the United States are in college towns. I think the only ones that aren't are Minneapolis, which there's no way in the world I can live up there. Um, Penn, which is in Philly,
Hmm.
similar problem, too cold. And then you could argue North Carolina State, Raleigh Durham's a pretty big area compared to other college towns. That's pretty much it for veterinary schools. And again, I love my job, but let's say the job aside, I don't know that I'd want to live in a really big, dense city like Dallas or Houston. Dallas for me, I think no, just because I grew up there,
Hmm.
and I just don't have that strong desire to go back that I know a lot of people do, which is fine. Like I have some buddies who literally grew up with them in high school, and they live probably a couple, quarter mile down from where they grew up, and I just don't understand. I don't have that mindset. It's just not me. I
I don't
think
think
if
it.
I could go anywhere, I'd probably move back to London for a bit.
Yeah.
It's just different and fun, and I would totally live there again.
You think you could teach there?
Probably. I
Be
don't
a
know.
different
They have a vet school at least.
different crowd,
It would
like
be.
fresh out of high school.
Yeah, they are very. It would be very different in I think it's most of Europe in general. Actually, they do veterinary school 5 years straight out of high school.
That's wild. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say it's like better or worse, but it's just different. That's crazy.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, imagine being a doctor at 23 years old. I couldn't. I wasn't mature enough. I don't know if I'm
Oh
mature
yeah.
enough now, quite frankly. So it's hard to say.
I mean, yeah, I try and think about it now. I'm like, I don't feel at all prepared to practice, and I'm only halfway through, so there's a lot more time to get more prepared. But to think of starting vet school, at least what A&M like, I'm not gonna say this like it's a bad thing, but what they put us through,
Hmm?
doing that fresh out of high school at 18 or 19 years old, I'd be like, I would not
Oh
like
yeah.
me in undergrad when I first started. It was like I'm learning the basics of how to be an adult, um, and then because I don't know how you were when applying, but the people I would talk to, and it's like first we would always say like, oh, what schools are you applying to, and then we'd have that discussion and moving on to like, where are you in that application process or whatever, and no one ever really said that they wanted to go over to London, and when it was ever brought up, it was always like, I don't want to go to school with like practically high schoolers,
Hmm.
which they're not high schoolers. They're not high schoolers, not anymore, when they get to that point. But it just, it would feel weird to sit in a class and be like, I'm 23, and I could drink, and I've been drinking, and probably after this exam, I'm going to go out drinking, and these people legally cannot. I'm assuming
To be
is that.
fair, it's 18 in London. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, then
Yeah.
never mind.
Pretty
But
much anywhere but the United States. Yeah.
oh, okay. Hmm.
But either way, I mean, I see your point though, right? Like, I mean, and I say this as somebody who started as an electrical engineering major. Like, I couldn't have gone straight into veterinary school after high school because that's
Hmm.
not what I thought I wanted to do. And to me, that's really one of the most startling things. Like, I don't know how many people know what they want to do with their life when they're 18.
What
Maybe everybody but me. I don't know.
I mean, when I first started undergrad, my mindset was I wanted to do the thing that seemed most difficult, and being a doctor seemed like more difficult than being an engineer, and being an engineer seemed more difficult than going into the army. Um, that is to say, there are difficult things through each of those paths. But I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and those were like my backups in that order.
Hmm.
And A&M just had everything.
Yeah.
It was also the only school I applied to for undergrad, because I was not like back in high school. High school Tyler was not ready for the world. But the like engineering was my backup, and starting like the first semester of undergrad, going over the large animal stuff, I was like, this could be what I'm doing forever. And I'm like, am I enjoying it? I don't know. It's different, and so I definitely wasn't set on anything.
Yeah.
Um, And like most of my family are in the engineering world, so like math is kind of like it's normal. It's just it's not the craziest thing in the world. So I felt like it was a good backup. What set you on the electrical engineering path originally?
I don't really remember, honestly. That's a tough one. I mean, I just liked computers
Mm-hmm.
growing up. I was the kind of kid who built my own computer or, modded his PlayStation, stuff
Big
like
gamer.
that. Yeah, I was. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still game. Um, but I think that's why, honestly. I don't know if I have a good reason, quite frankly.
Hmm.
That was also a long time ago, Jordan, so maybe I just don't remember.
I mean, it describes all the engineers I know.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Um, what games do you play?
I'll play most anything that's not competitive anymore.
Okay.
I cannot play first person shooters that are competitive.
It's hard to find ones that aren't competitive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind like a looter shooter, so I'll play like a Borderlands or something like that
Yeah.
where that's not competitive. Um, I enjoy colony sims and base builders. They're just casual and relaxing. I've been playing some. I just finished Resident Evil 4, so I've been trying to work through the Resident Evil series. So a little of everything. JRPGs. I grew up playing RPGs, so that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
my bread and butter. It always has been.
Hmm.
But just nothing. I can't compete with a 14-year-old kid, and I don't want to listen to him. Badmouth me.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't need the trash talk in my life.
that would be disheartening.
Yeah.
After a long day, uh, some child is destroying you on a game, and you're like, "What am I doing? Why?
Yeah.
It's 11 o'clock. I should go to bed." Um,
It's Noob Master or whatever from the Avengers movie. That I don't need to deal with that.
Noob Master.
You remember the Avenger? I don't know if you've seen all the Avengers movies, but
I saw.
where you have thick Thor and they're playing the video games in the house, and it's like,
Oh,
is it
mm,
Noob Master? I think that's it. Anyway,
probably. I don't know. I kind of gave up on the Avengers movie after Endgame. I'll be honest.
Yeah, me too. No, that's the last one. It's from Endgame.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's where Thor and Korg and they're sitting around playing video games. Anyway, and he's being taunted by the kid playing video games. That's the whole.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the point.
Um, no, my game growing up was League of Legends.
Oh, really? I've never played it.
Don't get into it.
Oh, I've seen the Netflix series. It's fantastic.
Oh, that show is great.
It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. The game is nothing like that.
Okay.
The show is like artistic and the music great and the
Yeah.
story's great. The
Yeah.
game is frustrating and you feel good for about 5% of the time. And then it's because the games are what 30 to an hour 30 minutes to an hour long,
Uh huh.
and within 5 minutes usually you can like decide who's going to win. It's just a slug of getting to that point,
Yeah.
and it's so defeating. And I used to play a lot going up until middle school, and then I realized I'm like, I'm not good at this game. It's only competitive. Like it's only you against this like this team versus that team,
Yeah.
and I wasn't very good at it. But my older brother he was pretty darn good. And he would go to like watch the professionals play at like Cinemarks or whatever. I think he went to California. Yeah, he went to California once to actually watch the finals.
Wow, that's
So he
cool.
was pretty into it.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I actually gave up video games in undergrad because I can't separate it. If I start a game, I'm gonna be on it for hours, and I can't get off of it,
Yep.
and that's not good.
That's why I don't have any on my phone.
Yeah.
I have to set limits, and that's why I don't. But for me, it's like watching a movie or a TV series or reading a book. I love things with a story,
Hmm.
and I love being immersed and being able to tell the story and be part of that. So I'll still do something, but only on my desktop computer in my home,
Hmm.
where I can set limits and not just be playing like on the bus or whatever. Not that I have a bus, but you know what I mean.
No, I love watching movies. Shows, I don't know how you feel about them, but it's almost intimidating to start one.
It's too much commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you should commit to Suits. Just because
Okay.
you're in the law world, it's nothing of what you do, but like it's a different part of law. I guess they talk about contracts, but it's like you signed whatever,
Yeah.
and they're arguing about it. But um, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I need to check that out. It's funny, in law school, all the professors really talk about My Cousin Vinny. It's a movie. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's from, I want to
Mm-mm.
say, the either late 80s or early 90s, and it has Danny, is it Danny DeVito? Yeah, Danny DeVito.
You know what?
Maybe
I'm gonna look it up.
it's either Danny DeVito or Joe Pesci. I mix those two guys up. But they all talk about it because apparently it's one of the most like accurate, so to speak, of what happens in a courtroom kind of thing.
Hmm.
It
I've
was
not
actually
seen
really
it.
good, honestly.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I watched it when I was taking evidence because he kept talking about it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go watch it. I was like, hey, this helped me learn.
Yeah. Um.
Does it say who's in it? Is it Joe Pesci
Oh.
or Danny DeVito? It's one of those two.
Uh,
And it's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci, thanks.
Um. Huh. See, I wish there was something like that for vet school. It's like this movie's really accurate, and you'll learn something from it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm on it.
Yeah,
I'll watch
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't think there's
I
any
think
movies detailing anatomy, probably. Yeah.
the only thing is that's been mentioned that's some form of media is the books. Everything. What is it? Everything Great, Big, and Small.
Oh, okay.
Is
Yeah.
that what it
The
is?
James Harriet ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know who wrote it. I'm just saying yes because
I'm
I'm
pretty
assuming.
sure that those are the James Harriets.
Well, I'm gonna look it up just in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. A book. I'm not gonna read it.
Right.
At least not right now. I have textbooks I need to read.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you read now?
I do. I actually, I just finished a novel. I'm just finished one of the Cormoran Strike novels. So I don't know if you're familiar, but
Mm-mm.
it's J.K. Rowling from
Oh.
Harry Potter has a pen name, and her pen name is Robert Galbraith,
Hmm.
and she writes detective novels. So it's kind of like a old school Sherlock Holmes
Oh yeah.
detective novel thing, or even like Dan Brown, blanking on his books, but kind of that idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're interesting. Like I tore through. What was 1,000 pages? I tore through it a couple weeks ago because
Oh.
detective novel is just like you can't put it down. You're like, oh man, what's gonna happen? So
Huh. See, I don't think I've ever read a book where I'm like, I can't put this down.
Really?
It's quite easy for me to put a book
yeah,
down. It's like, oh, I'm done. I'm okay not reading this right now. I don't know. It always feels like there's a lot of effort going into reading. But so you can like get through a book in what, a weekend or a week or
depends on the book, but if it's good enough, a week maybe,
Mhm.
or if I have nothing to do.
Do you just read it at night before going to bed, in the morning, or when you get off work?
Yeah,
Or
a little both. Like maybe a little bit in the morning before I go in, or just an hour or two, like while I'm eating dinner.
okay.
Yeah. I don't watch much TV, so again, very few shows that I watch. I kind of cycle through the different subscriptions if I want to do any. So I'll like, okay, this month can be Netflix, next month is Disney, but really only if there's something coming on that I'm really interested in anyway.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just, video games or read or a movie if there's something else to do, like find one on Amazon or something like that.
I should get into like the nonfiction side of books. My goal for this year is to read a book a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm counting audiobooks.
Yeah, that counts.
And I mean, I read all day. Anyways, not all day, but I read during the day, just not actual books. I'm reading papers mostly right now, or
Right.
textbooks, and I'm like, I'm actually practicing the skill of reading, so I can enjoy the audiobook form
Yeah.
later.
Sometimes you just have to turn your brain off after that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I've been using 11 Labs, the AI. Do you know what that is?
No, I'm not familiar.
I think it's AI. I don't know. Everything's AI nowadays.
Everything is, yeah.
But you can read audiobooks on it. I don't use it for that. I use Audible for audiobooks, but you can put in PDFs and it'll read it for you in an audio book format.
Interesting.
Not 100% amazing because I put some like textbook chapter in and it was reading, and every time I got to a page break, it would read the page number and then the next page number and then the title of the book, and then it would continue mid-sentence of where it left off, and I was like, it took me a second to be like, what is happening? Is it
Mm-hmm.
just having a stroke? Like trying
Mm-hmm.
to read this textbook? And it's like, no, it quite literally just reads every page it can find or every word it finds on the page. But no, it was super cool because I was trying to read about something in a textbook and I got through the first chapter and I was like, I want to keep going, but I'm so tired and I've just been sitting here and I want to do something else, but I also want to read this. So I was like, put that in there. I went for a walk and just got through another couple chapters and I was like, this is great.
Yeah,
I feel
nice.
so much better.
Yeah, you're accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you use audiobooks at all?
I really don't. I don't know. They just don't feel the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
I, I've heard that there's some good ones out there, and I think I listened to one audiobook once that I can remember, and it just, to be fair, I don't think I like the book very much. Um,
Do you know what book it was?
yes, it was. Oh man, I'm gonna have to think of it. I know that they made a show about it, possibly on Amazon, and the premise was okay. Hang on, it was Philip K. Dick. I know that, and it wasn't Electric Sheep, but it was one of his other books.
Of course.
Um, it was a book about what happened if the Nazis had won World War II, and it was a show on Amazon.
This sounds familiar. Philip who?
Philip K. Dick. His most famous book is "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" But that's not what this one was.
Did you write Blade Runner?
Tower, something Tower. I think it was Philip K. Dick. It might not be.
Hold on, people. We are looking it up. The Man in the High Castle?
Yeah, that's it. The Man in the High Castle.
Huh.
And I think they made a show on Amazon, and the show on Amazon looked amazing. There was explosions and Nazis, and it looked fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check out this book. So I got the audiobook. It was not. It was not fun.
Really?
There was no explosions. There was Nazis.
Was it just not, I mean,
It was
action packed enough to.
it was more I don't even know, psychological, not even psychological. I don't even want to use that word. It was not what I expected. And so I
Hmm.
was very disappointed. And I guess I never tried another audiobook after that. I don't know. I think for me, I just really enjoy the experience of imagining it myself.
Yeah.
And audio doesn't preclude that. It just doesn't feel the same to me.
Are you pretty good at imagining things in your head?
I think so.
Do you? So I've heard a number of people talking about this where there's kind of a range of the degree of uh, of of kind of how. Why can I not think of a way to describe this? How in detail you
Mm.
can imagine something in your head, and some people are like kind of like a stick figure or like a very brief outline of what an apple is, and on the very end, it's like a hyper defined apple, way more in depth than it would actually be in real life if you looked at it. So it's like 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Are you like more on the 10 side?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't have anything to compare to.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking like when I read a book, it's weird. Like when I'm reading a book that I'm really into, I don't notice that I'm reading it, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but
Hmm.
sometimes I'll put a book down and I'll pick it back up and I'll start reading and I can actually like almost hear myself reading the words. This is a really strange thing. You're gonna think I'm insane, but I don't like it when I can hear myself reading the words. I just want to have the words ingrained in my brain without thinking about them. That's how I know I'm reading a good book. That probably made zero sense.
Almost like it's effortless to read
Yeah,
in a
pretty
way.
much. Yeah, like I'm in the zone. Like if I can hear myself reading it, it's more like an audiobook. I actually when that happens, I just put the book down and walk away. And then I'll come back later and I'll pick it back up and I'll just start reading and I'm kind of in the book instead, in the zone.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever had that feeling before.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just insane or maybe that's normal or maybe
Probably,
I've just never noticed. I don't know.
I mean, probably other readers n- n- have felt that before. I'm just not. I feel like I'm not that good at reading, like, which is okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm good at other things.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can't be good
um,
at everything, right? Yeah.
so, but no, it's one of those things I kind of force myself to do.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. You do anything else other than what game shows, reading,
Yeah.
law?
Yeah, I love recently started playing soccer.
Hmm.
That's a lot of fun. I like being active. So I go to the gym usually 3 to 4 times a week for weights. I ride a bike, like a stationary bike at home, probably 2 nights a week, maybe 2 to 5,
Hmm.
depending on the week. I play soccer once a week. I would like to take up swimming more, but I'm just bad at it. And there's not a lot of opportunities in town to have a pool to swim laps.
Yeah. Could you go to the university pool?
I don't have a university pool membership, and gym. I don't have a membership to the rec,
Oh,
and because
what?
yeah, you don't get one for free for faculty. I don't say free. You got to pay. You're paying fees, but it's about $40 a month, and I'm not going to spend $40 a month
What?
to yeah, not worth it.
I thought it was $40 a semester for students.
It's $40 a month for me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and for $40 a month, like I'm sure it has great weight facilities, but I don't want to pay $40 a month to wait in line behind some 18-year-old kid on TikTok while he's taking up bench space.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So
Yeah.
I usually go to the gym for weights like 6 o'clock in the mornings, and I go to a local gym down here that's just not as busy,
Hmm.
and that's when I'm able to do my stuff.
Hmm. No, the gym's awesome. The I would love to like live in a gym. If I could like turn my apartment into a gym,
Mm-hmm.
that would be ideal. But
Yeah, I want something for my next house. I say that next house. If I ever get a good house, like
mm-hmm.
I keep telling myself I want something, but I also know I'm starting to get to the age when I should just go to the gym because then somebody can spot me. Right? I can't.
Yeah.
So I just need to do that. But yeah, no, starting to go to the gym like literally changed my life. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to be really, really thin, like 110 pounds sopping wet, like really thin.
Oh.
And then I started working out and eating better, and I'm up to like 140, 145 now, something like that.
Mm. I think it was Carson who saw you at TrueFit one day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And admittedly, he might get upset with me saying this. He took a picture and he's like, "Is this Dr. Tayce?" And where I went, "Yeah." And it's like, he's like, "What do I do?" And he's like, "Go spot him." What do you mean?
Yeah, he
What do you
did. He
do?
spotted for me once. Yeah. That shows a lot of trust in that man. I put
Yeah.
my literal life into his hands.
It is funny to think that because when I go to the gym, I'm almost entirely alone,
Uh-huh.
and if I'm gonna go for anything heavy, I will ask for someone to like spot me on bench. Complete stranger, I
Yep.
could die.
Yep.
It's their responsibility for me not to die.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's tough because, like, I mean, you've probably experienced this too. You've been spotted at one point by somebody who's just like, okay, I'm not going to try the 4 reps I wanted. I'm just going to do 2 because I don't trust this person to actually. Their
Yeah.
hands are nowhere near the bar right now, and I don't trust that they're going to put them there.
yeah,
I don't think they understood the assignment.
yeah. Because I used to when I started working out, I would do it alone in a garage, so I'd rarely ever like red line it on like a low number of reps. Um, but now I'll be working out with one of our classmates, and we kind of like force each other now to redline, and like
Nice.
it's like, oh, it's like that last one was really hard. I don't know if I can do it again. It's like, no, now we're gonna do it again, and you are gonna fail, and then we're gonna get it off of you.
Yeah. It's rare for me to do that anymore. I think 4 to 5 reps is about the lowest number I'll do anymore. And again, that's just part of getting to the age. Like, I don't need to be hitting 3 rep maxes or 1 rep maxes anymore. It's silly
I
for
mean,
me.
fair, but you talk like you're 65 years old.
Well, no, not yet, but okay, that's fair. But it's not getting better. So I've peaked already. Remember?
Man, I don't know. The workout scientists of the world, I don't know when like the ideal age is to lift weights, but in my mind, I'm like hoping that I can progress for forever and it will never go away. But
I got bad news for you.
I
Yeah.
know.
You got time. You have time, but it'll hit.
No, if you said ideally in your ideal house, you would have what, a home gym?
Yeah.
And just anything you wanted.
Yeah, I think I would mostly just have just the big stuff I use. So, a rack and a bench, essentially. That's really all you need. And some free weights.
Yeah.
And then like maybe a bike and a treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4 things would be plenty for me.
Yeah. I always imagine that I would get a house, and then I would have a big barn either in the back or on the side, and that would just be a whole, like, I can put up a wacky gym equipment
Yeah.
I want. Pendulum squat. Someone's gonna walk in and be like, "What in the world is that?" There's blobs on the ground. They're like, "Why?" And do you know
Right.
what those blobs are? They're like a grip. It's so funny. I've never actually used one because I've never seen one in person. You know what strongman is? The
Like the
sport.
oh yeah, okay, yeah.
It's just giant. There's strong men and the strong women. I like there are strong women, but it's the sport is called strongman.
Yeah.
And then there's a women's category. Anyways, I've just seen videos of them. They'll cut the end off of a dumbbell, and so it's just that blob essentially on the end, and it's not the metal ones that are like hex shaped.
Hmm.
They're whatever for like silicone or something, and so they're round. Maybe they're metal, but they're round, and you just pick them up, and it's a grip like strength
Oh,
test in
yeah.
a way. And so um, if you had like a 25-pound weight, yeah, the cut end off, which would only be maybe 10
Yeah.
pounds, not so hard. But some of them go up to like 100 pounds, and those strongmen have giant hands. It's I don't know. It's so much fun to watch them like lift crazy things. So I like my ideal gym would have just crazy
Yeah.
things just in the corner, and people are like, "Why? When do you actually ever?" And it's like I never use it, but
Right. No,
look at
no,
it.
but it's there.
Yeah. Um, do you have any hobbies like that? And you're like, in the future, I want to have all these weird things that maybe the average person wouldn't want, but it's my obsession.
That's I don't know that I do. Like, or if I do, maybe I just don't recognize it. I kind of like, I'm a very simple person. I kind of like the stuff I do. I feel like I have more or less access to the things I enjoy. So, travel and going out and playing soccer and lifting weights and hanging out at home, like I have access to that stuff. So I can't think of anything, at least off the top of my head, that I'm like, oh, I wish I could do X, but I don't or I can't.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure it would be lovely to have a hot tub at home. That's what I want. I want a hot tub. I could go find a hot tub, but I want one at my house. So after I go to the gym, I can just soak. Like
Hmm.
that's what I want.
Um, you sound like Will. He's wanted a pool in his backyard for the longest time, and we talked about him getting a pool, and he just needs to do it. It'd be so much fun. But I was actually talking to Dr. Hoppman today, and he said that he was kind of the type to get obsessed with something, but like to make sure that the obsession's actually there, he'll wait a little bit.
Mm,
And I'm the same way. Like the kind of I give into the obsession a little bit. Like initially, that's where the keyboard came from.
right.
Um, kind of like I've always wanted to get it, but should I done it during finals? No, that was an excuse to get out of the house. And but I find like something, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this like maybe a week or so, and if it's still around, then I'm gonna consider it, and then if it's like legitimate, then and I work it out, and I'm still like wanting to do it, then it's actually something that I can do, and I should actually go for it. But it's like it's all I think about.
Yeah.
It's like a weird obsessed kind of mindset. Do you ever get in that mode?
I'm the opposite. I'm an impulse purchaser. I'll just buy the thing. And
Really?
then yeah, I'll do it for a little bit and I'll be like done with it.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh great, now what do I do with this?
Like what?
So I'll just buy so when I wanted to before I got my stationary bike, so I have a Peloton. Before I got that, I had I don't know what they're called, but you put like a real bike on it and it's like the little circle
Yeah, I know what you're talking
things
about.
for like training. So I have one of those that just sits in my garage. I don't even know how to get rid of it.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to buy it. I don't even know what it's called. So I have one of those. I tried it for a little bit. They're really difficult to use, actually.
Because you put a real bike on it.
Yeah, you put a real bike on what looks like rolling pins almost, and you just bike, but you stay in place.
Hmm. That's got to be
Um,
trippy.
yeah, it's really difficult because you have to balance. You have to get on the bike. You have to not fall off. Anyway,
Hmm.
that lasted about a week, and I was like, well, not even a week. That's being generous. So I was like, well, this goes in the garage now and never to be seen again.
Hmm.
So, but
Do
I
you,
have stuck it out with my stationary bike. I really enjoy that. Um, I think I've been using that for probably 5 years now, something like that. Probably during COVID, I guess I got it.
I thought that was super helpful.
Oh yeah, no, it was great during COVID when you couldn't really do much else.
Yeah. Yeah. I would force myself to go out and go on walks admittedly, like admittedly when they were like stay inside. And it's like
Hmm.
I went outside and walked around because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I I lost my mind in COVID, just like sitting in, because it was also, I graduated high school the at the time that COVID hit, and they're like, okay, now you're gonna. I was like, am I gonna go to college? What's going on? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on walks. I don't walk hardly ever. It's boring. I'll go on runs, uh, but no. Do you ever bike around town on your actual bike?
Very little. I have an actual bike. It sits in my garage mostly just because it's not a great biking town. And I live over in downtown Bryan. And so, with all the stoplights and all the traffic and the trains, it just takes you too long to get anywhere
Hmm.
that it's just not even worth it. Instead, I could just jump on a stationary. And yeah, okay, it's not the same, but I can at least go 12 miles in the same amount of time I could get like 4 miles in town.
And you can watch a movie.
And I could watch a movie. Exactly. Multitask.
If I was super into something like that, I'd watch so many movies. Um, I
Yeah,
think.
I'll usually watch something or I'll study or something
Hmm.
while I'm on it, something like that.
Hmm. Uh, Going back to the law stuff.
Yeah,
Um, now that you still have to take the bar, right?
I do. End of July, yep.
Um, what's it like getting ready for that? Is it at all comparable to studying for the NAVLE?
I think it's similar. It's longer. It's a 12-hour exam
Hmm.
over the course of 2 days. Half of it's essay, half of it's multiple choice. And it's exhausting. And I'm probably not putting in as much time as I need to be, honestly. But, it's hard when you have a job. But I don't mind exams. I never have. It's just part of the learning experience, I guess. And I feel like I'm a decent test taker, so that helps. So it's really just practice, is what I'm at now. It's just practice, practice. Make sure I don't get fatigued, and make sure I know my rules like the back of my
Hmm.
hand.
How do you practice for law?
So what I mean, I do a lot of law. First of all, you have to memorize the rules. So you have to know the elements of the rules. You have to know how the different elements break down different circumstances. So I do a lot of writing, like actual pen and paper, or I have a
Hmm.
tablet, so I use a stylus and a tablet. Of just write the rule, practice it, talk to myself. I talk like literally out loud, talk to myself a lot.
Hmm.
Make sure I know it, and then I'll come back a few days later and do it again, and I'll keep doing that over and over until I know it really, really well, and then I can apply it to multiple choice questions or essays or whatever.
Hmm. I can kind of see some translation with that to vet med,
Mm-hmm.
because I at the beginning I told myself, I was like, oh, I should write my notes out, and then after 8 hours of classes every day, I was like, I can't spend the time doing this. Like, just isn't working. I'm not fast enough at it, so it turned into me reading it
Yeah.
slash typing out the notes now. Um, hmm,
Yeah, I always found for me, like during a class, I would type,
hmm,
and then I would immediately go right afterwards. Um, so for me, that was great because again, that fits my style. Is I would always before I'd have at least two exposures to it, to the material. One in class where I was typing it, and then another where I had to transcribe it into my own hands. So there's already two exposures, which is good for me. But then I also grew up like writing. I didn't have a computer when I was a kid. They didn't exist basically.
hmm.
I mean, they existed, but not the same. And so I grew up writing, so I'm just accustomed to that, and that's kind of how I learned. I took notes by hand in vet school, so
Hmm.
that's just how I do things. I just like writing it. It helps me learn it better.
I I know some people who are like that. They still stick to writing it by hand, but even in high school, like, people use tablets.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Um, we had iPads at our school that they gave us. I don't know if they came with keyboards, but I mean, we at least wrote on there
Yeah.
instead of on paper. And yeah, I tried writing at least on the notes for vet school, and then typing them up afterwards for the first year and a half, and then going on this past semester, I was like, nah, I'm gonna start typing on the actual document, and I was like, I can get so many more words down and actually complete thoughts. And sometimes I'll look back, I'm like, my handwriting is upside down? What's going on here? And so it just wasn't helpful.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not an efficient process. Like I recognize that, but ultimate, it's quality over, for me. It's quality over quantity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I can learn it better that way, and so yeah, I'll take some inefficiencies to make sure it sticks in my head.
Hmm. The what's like the work split moving forward after getting the law degree and working at the school?
So law degree will be part time, basically on the side.
Okay.
So keep doing my normal job, keep doing what I need to do there, and then nights. I mean, I can read a contract pretty quick, half an hour or something to read a contract. So I can knock one out in a night and then have a Zoom call with somebody. Those usually take about an hour, maybe a little longer depending on what it is. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Saturdays and Sundays I can knock those out.
Hmm.
And that's a lot of times when the veterinary student or the veterinarian or the resident are free as weekends anyway, or nights because they're in class or they're in work.
Yeah.
So it works out quite well.
Uh, do you get a lot of it's I'm assuming it's a lot of younger people coming to you.
It's a mix. I would say more of the time, yeah, it's younger folks. Particularly, I'm doing a lot with residents who are getting their first job out of residency, becoming a specialist. New graduates are very common. Those are probably the more common ones that we see. I don't know if that's just because they don't feel as comfortable with it. I don't know if that's because maybe they don't stay in their job as long, and so we see them more often. I'm not sure why though.
Hmm. What about people making their own uh people starting their own practice
Mm-hmm.
or trying to hire people on? Do
Yeah,
you get that a lot?
yeah. So I personally don't. I'm not on that side of things as much. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't interest me as much. But yeah, so M&As, mergers and acquisitions, very common. People who startups who want to start their own business is common. Um, most of those, like Dr. Rosa, will see a lot of those
Okay.
because he's been doing that for quite a while. I enjoy more of the contract one-on-one, somebody getting into or trying to get out of their contract.
Okay. Well, if this thing ever gets big, then I'll know who to go to.
Yeah, holler anytime.
um, I doubt that this would get any kind of a footing in the world. You know how many people that I've told and it's like, oh, I got a podcast, and they're like, oh, cool. And it's like, well, the next time you go and meet so and Bob, and I was like, that's not happening. Like, come on, that's not
Right.
how that works. Um, but the what do you think interests you most about the idea of looking at contracts like that? Like, kind of the question of passion keeps you going.
I think for me, it's the teaching side of things. It really is. Like the contract itself is it's interesting, but the contract itself is kind of a conduit to be able to talk to the person and help them learn. And so it's fun. It's, teaching somebody something that they didn't know before and helping them. It makes a difference in their life too,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I can help somebody negotiate for an extra $10,000, like that's pretty meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if it's not $10,000, even if it's just the knowledge of what to do. Because I've had some, that don't go the negotiation doesn't go the way they want, but they're still deriving information from that. They're still learning something about the contract. They're still learning. Look, when you go up for negotiation next year, if you want to, you know what you're up against now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still that teaching side of things. That's really why I enjoy it.
Do you think that there at any point will enter in the feeling of like I don't know if monotony is the right word, but just kind of maybe boring, just kind of like similar to the general practice world that you were in?
I mean, the potential's always there. I think what's nice is there's still opportunity to go sideways then. If I say that maybe the contract, entering contracts isn't as fun, maybe I can focus more on getting out of them because those are going to be more unique because then it's
Mm-hmm.
a back and forth with the employer and the employee to figure out what's the right way to get them out. There's always, the fact of the matter is, there's always going to be conflict between people. And so a lawyer is always going to have a job because the world's not always going to get along with each other. So,
Definitely sounds a little
so
bit more exciting.
yeah, there's more to it, that's for sure.
Do you know the he's big on the internet, James Saxton?
I don't think so.
He is a divorce attorney.
Okay, not familiar, no.
Like big name divorce attorney. The part of the world I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money. I'm never gonna see that part of the world ever. But he talks a lot on the internet because um, he sees the arguing side of being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Um, that seems really stressful.
Yeah. Family law is not something I ever want to go into.
Yeah.
That I do not envy folks who are in family law or like criminal law. I'm glad there are people out there who are interested and who want to do that because I do not.
Would you say it's kind of like the if you would compare it to medicine, it's like that's ER. It's like things are gonna get chaotic and crazy, and sometimes it's like okay, we're easygoing, and the other days everything's kind of falling apart. Or this patient's like really going the wrong way fast, and we need to do something about it.
I mean, I would say either that or like swine medicine, you know. It's not something. It's not
It's real
glamorous.
loud
Yeah,
and
it's not glamorous. It's not something I ever want to touch. But I'm glad there are people who enjoy it.
fair enough. Um, shout out to all the swine vets of the world.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I've heard that the swine vets they love what they do.
I
Like
mean,
the
you have
big
to, right?
people.
Like, yeah.
Well, the I never actually did very much swine classes in animal science, but some of my friends and classmates did, and they're like, after taking it in undergrad, they were like, I might be a swine vet. Like, this is cool because
Wow.
the professors were like really into it, and
Hmm.
they're like, these are the great parts about it, and they just love what they do, and they're like, yeah, it's like swine vet medicine's like it might be the way to go, and then I'm like, let's consider it. Maybe you're nose blind, but whenever
Right.
I go over there, I'm like,
Right.
oh, um, yeah, and they eventually like now are like, yeah, you're right. And they have now gone back to what they enjoy most, but no, the swine vets that's an interesting side of the world, and definitely I it was never on the front of my mind being
Yeah.
like I'll let you do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, same thing. It's every field, I guess, has that. Like, but to be fair, I bet a swine vet feels that way about a small animal veterinarian. I bet they look at that and they're like, I don't want to touch a cat for anything in the world. I'm glad somebody else does.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the people that were was an undergrad with that wanted to do large animal things. They're like, uh, they'll hear about the tiny white crusty dog who the owner comes in like, do everything you can, and then it's like kind of a chronic disease, and they're putting a lot of money in this dog, and because they really care for this dog, and they're looking at it, and they come from the production side of the world, and the animals that they own are for a economic purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, you're spending how much
Mm-hmm.
on a dog? And so that was it's more of a they're trying to get a job done, and then they saw the small animal world, and they're like, that's a different, like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I could do that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny hearing from both sides. Um, you do a lot of stuff with AI, kind of ish.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
Um, what, because what is it? The 2030 class that you teach
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
used to teach?
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
going on
Future of
still?
veterinary medicine. Yeah. Yeah. I keep trying to get them to change the name because 2030 is like around the corner now.
You
But
got to pick 3,000.
I just
Set it.
literally anything. I guess we never thought it this far ahead when we started the course 10 years ago or whatever.
Is that when it started?
I think so. I think it would have been the class of 2021 was the first class. I didn't take it over till a few years after. So maybe 2023, 2022, something like that probably.
Um, for a quick, for people who don't like know what it is, can you like describe it?
Yeah, so it's an elective for second year students at A&M, and it's the future of veterinary medicine. I try to change it up every year to do a little something different, which is reasonable since the future keeps changing. And really, this year I'm working actually revamping it right now this summer and just trying to think about like what should be in there: technology, law, politics, food, private practice, education, everything like that.
What's on your mind for this next semester of teaching in that
So,
class?
yeah, I'm trying to think of different ways to teach the material and different ways to try new things. So, um, hopefully, trying to do more like group activities and group work and different things like that. But in terms of the different content out there, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going to happen with the world of veterinary medicine, which we can't predict in the future. I always find food to be one of the most fascinating topics. Like right now, we have food animal veterinarians. What happens if everybody changes to Beyond Beef and stops eating cows?
Hmm.
Like is that going to happen tomorrow? No, but what if? Then what if food animal veterinarians do? Right? What if people start moving to insect-based protein? Should food animal veterinarians then be the ones who treat insects? I think like just like honeybees. So I think there's a lot of really neat stuff out there that maybe is kind of stuff people don't really think about, or if somebody else is thinking about it. That's totally possible.
I mean, what do you think of that situation?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, to be fair, I'm not a food animal veterinarian, so it's hard for me to say. But I do think food animal veterinarians will still have a place if either of those two situations happened.
Hmm.
I think food animal veterinarians might be more of on the laboratory side of things. If everything moved to Beyond Beef or a similar, let's say lab grown meat, maybe that's what food veterinarians are doing. Is they're doing more of meat inspection or maybe more like the biosecurity and laboratory side of things. I think if insect protein became a thing, it'd be similar to people who do honeybee medicine. It's more of it's a herd health situation.
I imagine that if people were consuming primarily protein outside of the classical production animals,
Mm-hmm.
in any regard, insects, lab grown meat, or whatever, I can't imagine all those animals would just disappear. They probably they wouldn't definitely not be reproducing at a rate that they are right now
Yeah,
because they wouldn't be going anywhere,
yeah,
and no one would like need to take care of that many of them, but they wouldn't just disappear. So I imagine that there would be some number of large animal veterinarians. Now they probably wouldn't be under the classification of production anymore, but they would still be like, okay, my cow is lame.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, who knows, right? We could see a change of maybe cattle became more like companion animals. We could see
Mhm.
something like that, or maybe the food industry changed, and so maybe cattle became more of a niche food,
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, I don't know, what's a comparison today, like caviar or something, right?
Yeah.
Like something that not everybody eats every day. If they ate lab grown meat, and then occasionally you splurged for an actual animal, so to speak. So who knows what the future could bring?
Yeah. The I I don't know all the details of like lab grown meat and stuff, but I remember discussing it with animal science people in undergrad, and even in vet school, it was kind of a lunchtime topic. We're all eating lunch, and someone I think brought it up, and I've always been on the side of like, if you can make it cheap and like mass produced and healthy and safe for people, and it's like there are people in around the world who aren't eating, like they need food, and if we can do it in a way that's cheaper, faster, safer, um, then that would be a good idea. And then the market would promote that like exponentially with how successful it is, if it's successful at all. Like this is all hypothetical. If it could be all of those things, um, which it isn't right now. Otherwise, we would see it everywhere. And I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people were very defensive about it because they're like, there there was a lot there. It seemed like the mindset of we do this and we take a lot of pride into of it because we're feeding everybody,
Yeah.
which is like it's great and very necessary. And it was very like defensive in a way, um, which I can empathize with, but the I just said but Cornell's out there like you, how dare you? Um, Let me rephrase that. uh, they're getting defensive, and um, like that's okay. It's understandable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing. Change is hard. So I don't think people would. It's hard to predict the future,
Hmm.
right? That's a huge, huge challenge, and 99% of our predictions are probably totally off base.
Oh yeah.
And I think people, but I think you're exactly right. Like, it's going to be, there's a large cultural change to be able to do something like that. This is not going to be, that would not be something that happens overnight. But if it did become cheap enough and safe enough and people trusted it, maybe. But even then, like GMOs are still taboo to even think about or talk about in some respects, right? Even though we've probably had GMOs for who even knows how long. So
Yeah,
I think there's a huge barrier that lab grown meat would have to face and overcome to even become close to mainstream.
definitely. I think so. It's funny you bring up GMOs. That's another thing. They're like buzzwords that I feel like if you say in
Yep.
the animal science community, they're like, oh, how
Yeah.
like that's not GMO is one of those, and it, it's kind of a silly term, genetically modified organism or whatever. Because like theoretically and technically, like we have been genetically modifying everything
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. Thousands of years. Yeah.
Um,
If not
so
longer. Yeah.
yeah, I always see those labels. I'm like, I'm not on principle. I'm
Yeah.
not getting you because you have the no. But
And that's exactly it though, is there's that mental barrier to anything, any
mhm,
change. Even the name lab grown meat.
it seems scary.
Yeah, sounds really scary. So I do think there's a big component that's not going to be something to change overnight. Now I say that, like, who knows? The world could totally change overnight, and maybe the cost of beef triples, and people are like, okay, I'm willing to listen now.
I mean, it feels like it's getting closer and closer to something like that. I get ground beef from Sam's, and I on my budget, I'm looking at the price every time,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
can tell when it changes. Even like 20, because I buy it 10 pounds at a time, 20 cents. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, come on now. It used to be like 4.50 per pound at 90% lean, and now it's 5.80.
Yeah.
That was, over the past 4 or 5 years. It was slow, one step at a time, but I'm like, I can see it happening. Um, and yeah, I feel like if necessity was there, um, necessity, then people would consider it a lot more.
Yeah. Or just good marketing. You take like different types of milk, almond milk and soy milk and
Hmm.
whatever other type of milk. Like that's just marketing for that.
Milk has the greatest marketing history of all time. I mean, got milk,
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. Exactly.
What was it? Have you seen Rick and Morty?
I know of it, but I've actually never watched it.
Oh
But yes, I
man,
know of Rick and Morty. Yeah.
this is so funny. They had a little joke about it. It's like got milk, the greatest marketing tactic of all time. But uh, what about the like communication with the rest of the world? I feel like there's part of the podcast is it's called One Health, mostly because I can now talk about anything within medicine, not just vet med,
Hmm.
and be free to under the name. Uh, but the part of it is communication with people that are not within the world of vet med.
Okay.
Um, and when I have like that in mind, I'm thinking of people back in Carrollton
Hmm.
and Louisville. And like my family, whenever I go back, I'm talking to them about it, all the things, and they have very similar questions every time, and we're talking about things, and what seems common sense for us is not very common sense for the world, just because it seems like different hemispheres for the most part. What do you think about like increasing the communication to the rest of the world in different ways, especially with like social media and stuff?
Yeah. So specific to veterinary medicine,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great organizations and people out there. So I know in terms of international work for veterinary medicine, this is veterinarian specific, but there's organizations like WASAVA, the World Society. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this wrong.
Wasaba. I can
Yeah,
look it up.
WSAVA. You're gonna have to Google their acronym because I'm going to screw it up. I know I am.
WSABA.
Yep, WSAVA.
World Small Animal Veterinary Association.
Yeah, so that's an example. There's some really neat organizations out there that do good work for veterinary medicine in terms of trying to not standardize things necessarily between countries, but at least get different countries talking together. That's one of the reasons I was in South Korea years ago, was for like a World Veterinary Organization conference. I wasn't attending, my friend
Hmm.
was, so I just decided to tag along. And it was
Good
really neat. Like
excuse.
that's why I got to go to South Korea and Taiwan and see these places and meet veterinarians from all sorts of different countries around the world and see them talk veterinary medicine and talk about what's going on in one continent and one country versus another.
Is that communities of veterinarians talking to other communities of veterinarians
Yeah, in this
from
case, yeah,
different countries?
yeah,
What about the communities of veterinarians just globally talking to the rest of the world?
Yeah. Um, I'm a it's tough. I'm a big fan generally of like making an impact locally. Like if a veterinarian, because that's so difficult. Like how do you reach the world as one person sometimes, right? Sometimes you can if you happen to be super amazing big on social media or something. And sometimes like, I mean, I'll use myself as an example. Like I don't generally think I can, maybe I can if I tried. I don't generally try to make a large impact across the United States or across the world or anything like that with what I do. I really focus on my teaching and working with my students at my university where I feel like I can make an impact. And I think a lot of veterinarians around the world, like maybe that's one of the best ways we can focus is how can you help the person in your community and be a good steward for the animals in your community.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's opportunities again through organizations to work with each other about how to do that. And kind of that local and community focused aspect is really nice for some people. I don't know.
Hmm. Do you think it would be beneficial to like for people to try and get into the social media world more? Because at least in a in a productive and more of a, I feel like exposure is the right
Yeah.
word because I see some things that are educational, and even I'm like, not today. Like I'm moving
Right.
on because it's too
Right.
educational. It's not entertaining, and then I'll see the entertaining things. I'm like, there's nothing substantive here. It's just,
Right.
oh, this is like relate with me, and I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Moving on.
I mean, I definitely do. Right. There's always opportunities, and there's always something. Getting more people interested in veterinary medicine, whatever aspect, is always a positive. And so, if there are, through social media, if there's people out there who want to put themselves out there and reach a big audience and introduce them to veterinary medicine, whether it's educational or fun, I think is amazing. It's not something I know much about just because I honestly use very little social media, quite
Mm.
honest, frankly. Um,
What do you have?
I have I would have to almost look. I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram. That's pretty much the two big ones I have.
LinkedIn?
I have a LinkedIn, it never gets used.
We don't need
I,
one. I feel
yeah,
like
I know, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not, maybe if I have to go for a job search in the future, I guess I would get it. And actually, veterinary medicine has always been very slow to adopt LinkedIn. I think it's a lot better now. For whatever reason, I think veterinarians were slow to get on there in the first place. Um,
if I was looking for a job, like this school does such a great job connecting you. I'm like, I don't need
yeah, I
LinkedIn.
think there's plenty of opportunities to find stuff where LinkedIn, I think, is better for veterinary industry than
Mm,
the practice of veterinary medicine.
mm,
But yeah, I used to use social media a lot more, and then I think I just get tired of it keeps trying to bombard me with people I don't know and things I don't necessarily care about. And I think that's what the thing I like about social media is being able to see people I know and reconnect with them and see what they're doing in their lives. And that's almost hard to find sometimes. Like you open up Instagram and it's like you see one post from a friend and then 16 posts from random people doing things. And you're like, I don't know who these people are.
yeah.
And so it's almost hard. So I don't use it that much.
Interesting mindset because that sounds like someone um, who was using those kinds of apps, but when they were first created. So
Probably, yeah.
back in the day,
Yeah.
and like growing up with them, kind of Facebook gave up that vibe of you can connect with
Yeah.
family and friends and see what they're doing, and like the people I know who have Facebook back home, like that's what they do. And I don't have Facebook. Um, I do have Instagram and I have Snapchat, which sounds immature, but I do. I don't know why. Like my my close friends have it, and sometimes they'll like snap a picture, and I'm like, I guess it's convenient,
Yeah.
but um, it's those two, and like other than Snapchat, yes, I only see stuff like really from people I know. But Instagram, it's like you said, I almost primarily see things from people I don't know,
Yeah.
and it's normal in a way. Um,
Yeah, it's just I guess it's just not what I'm looking for, it's just not the media I want to consume
Hmm.
is really what it comes down to. I'm not interested in TikTok dances from random people that I don't know and don't care about. If I want to watch media, I'll just go read a book or I'll watch a movie
Hmm.
of a media of my choosing. And to be fair, I'm also just not like a doom scroller. I just don't sit on my phone very much.
That's good. It's
Yeah,
probably the most what's a good word to describe it? It
healthy.
feels oh no, yes, what you're doing is healthy. It feels pathetic when I sit there and
Mm.
I'll just be swiping and I'm like, what am I? Why? Like,
Oh yeah, no, an hour goes by and you're just like, oh my gosh, what have I just done? Like,
yeah.
yeah. So I try to be very cognizant of that as much as I can. In fact, I even like I don't wear smart watches or anything like that. I don't even my phone email, like work email, in order to get work email on my phone, I have to go in and get it. Like it won't buzz my phone when an email comes in. I set it so I don't get notifications unless I demand to go in and get them. And that's very intentional. Like I want when I'm away, I want to be away.
Hmm.
And if I want to see my email, cool. I'll open my phone and go see my email. But I don't want it bothering me. So I'm very strict for myself about control over
That sounds
stuff
healthy.
like that. I think it is like I think it helps me a lot. Like I mean, I'm also fairly ignorant of the world, I guess, in that regard, but I don't mind.
I feel like when it comes to email and I get an email and I don't see it, and maybe it's a couple days goes by and I look at it and I find it and I'm like, this person was trying to get a hold of me or they sent me some information and I didn't see it when they sent it. And I almost feel like I've been disrespectful
Mm.
to them sending me a message. But email seems, I get so much junk from the
Oh yeah.
university. Like it's helpful to other people, but like the just the mass emails, I'm like, if you really want to get a hold of me, like you got to text.
Yep. That's what I tell people too. If you need me, just send me a text message. Otherwise, it's just gonna get lost.
But it's kind of hard in a position like a student because some professors will like give you their number, especially I've heard like on clinics, like that's
Sure. Yeah.
normal because you know calling someone is for a specific patient in a specific moment is a lot more reasonable than oh like this is an emergency, let me email them,
Right.
like that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
But if like some of the I can't imagine being a professor and every year getting a new class of 180 students and then like what giving your number to all of them. It's like call me when you need me. It's like you're gonna get some phone calls. You're like I did not need this at
I mean, it's
10:30.
very rare that that happens.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's pretty rare that there's a problem. But I mean, that's part of the thing I love about my job, though, too, is I want to be there to help people. Like, I really believe that's a big part of my job is to help people become the best human that they can be, not just best veterinarian, best human they can be. So that kind of thing doesn't bother me at all,
Hmm.
you know.
You said
But
that.
go ahead.
No, you're good.
I mean, it's easy for me to say too when I don't have a family and kids and all this stuff that take my time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm more flexible maybe than somebody with a lot more going on.
Hmm. Do you want a family and kids?
Not children. No, not for me.
Fair.
Yeah, maybe I'll meet my human wife someday, but until then, it's me and the cats.
Your human wife
Yeah,
someday.
it's just me and the cats right now. So
Oh man.
I'll keep my eyes out. We'll see.
College Station is hard to meet somebody. There's, I mean,
It is if you're not 18. Yeah.
yeah. Even like I'll go out places and I'm what only 24 and I'm like sometimes it feels like it's just a bunch of undergrads. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to leave.
Yeah.
But
Well,
um,
wait till you're 44. I recommend not being here for that. Yeah.
no, I do want to leave. I got what I wanted out of College Station,
Good.
and it is great. It's a lovely place. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Texas. I love Texas so much. My goodness, I have so much Texas pride.
Really.
It's almost obnoxious.
Really.
Um, yeah. But there's like you said, the rest of the world. It'd be cool to go to
There's a
another
lot
state.
of world out there to see.
Yeah.
You know, definitely give it a try if you have the chance.
Um, what? Let's go on the topic of AI
Sure.
because
Sure. Sure.
you dipped your toe at least a little bit
Yeah.
in that. Um, what are your thoughts just in general?
I think AI is probably the most disruptive technology since the internet. Really, truly. It has progressed so rapidly in such a short time that I think we as humans really are going to struggle to even understand like how we should be using it and how to use it appropriately and how it's going to continue to get better. I mean, you'll hear people like slag on AI a little bit, like, oh, it does this wrong, and oh, it's not good for this. AI is today is the dumbest it's ever going to be, right? Like it's only going to get better.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying my best to stay like on the edge as much as I can of using it. I hope I'm using it properly more or less. Like there are some things it's good for and there are some things like no. But AI is also at the other side of the spectrum. It's a tool. And you have to understand the data you're putting in, you have to understand the data you should be getting out. No different than a calculator. And if you don't do that, that's dangerous. And that's where I won't deny I have some concerns with AI, especially with kids today. You know how it is. But with children who are growing up and trying to learn, like if they just put stuff in AI and they blindly believe what comes out, that's a problem. They need to have the critical thinking skills to recognize, oh, this data that it's giving me, maybe I should question that. And that's
Hmm.
difficult for a young person to understand. So I think AI it's an amazing technology. It's going to become an even more amazing technology, and it's still a tool that we have to figure out how to use appropriately.
The the idea of looking at the results of an AI search and just believing it on its face both seems really realistic and plausible. Like people are doing it and are going to continue doing it. But also, I remember back because for almost all of my memory, the internet has existed. I don't know what it would be like to live without it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I was a kid, I would look up on the internet if I had a question, and the first thing that popped up, I would go, "That's the answer."
People still do it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I think I read something. I want to say it's like 60% of people when they Google something and Google AI tells them, they just stop right
Hmm.
there. They don't dive further. Um, and to be fair, like that's no different than when you only read the headlines of a newspaper article, right?
Hmm.
That's no different than it's ever been in that regard. So,
It almost seems like those I don't know if trap is the right word, or pitfalls or mistakes
mm-hmm.
have always existed. We're just now applying it to AI.
Yes, I agree. I think they have always existed, and I think the challenge is now it's existing faster and more frequent
Hmm.
than it ever has before.
Uh, I'm curious on your opinion because there's a lot of people that are like AI is going to take over the world. Which I'll be honest, when the first AI first started, like was being mentioned back when I was like a junior or senior, I remember I took a philosophy class and we discussed a number of things like basic philosophy, and one of them was the idea of the Turing test and whether or not a machine can not trick, but convince a human that it's not a machine,
Mm-hmm.
and all these different ideas. And then AI came around, and I already had this idea, like these thought processes built in my head, and everyone was freaking out like the end of the world was upon us. And I was like, I don't, that's not going to happen. What do you
I don't,
think?
yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world. I do think we are entering a new world, though, where it's going to be really difficult to know what's real or not. Like image creation is becoming so realistic. You look at something, you're like, I don't know if this is real or if this is AI.
Hmm.
And it's only going to get better, right? I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. That's not going to suddenly magically improve. It could. Let me rephrase that. It could if we harnessed AI correctly and built in, fail safes and algorithms that we're able to say, hey, this is not real. Here's the real
Hmm.
facts. I don't know if we'll do that or if people will do the opposite, right? Like,
Or if it's actually perfect in its
yeah.
application.
Or how do you know that you trust that AI versus the first thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that to me is the biggest problem is what do you trust? How do you know what to believe and what to trust and what's even real? That to me is more likely and more applicable immediately than like robot AI is taking over, at least,
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to hit like Terminator level stuff anytime soon, but I could be wrong.
the I remember talking about this with my family. The idea of like AI just progressing to a point, because I feel like everywhere on the internet people are talking all of these things like it's going to do this or that and the job economy, blah 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 blah
Sure.
blah. And I'm like, I because right, I am only 24. There's a lot of things that have happened with technology within since I've been alive, and it's all seemed like it's been fine.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah. I mean, we humans have been dealing with this forever, right? Like, it's always been the end of the world. Like, when people invented the car, they're like, well, what's going to happen to all the guys who run horses? And when they invented the self checkout at the grocery store, it's like, what's going to happen to all the grocery store workers? Like,
Hmm.
the technology will always displace. That's always happened. I think it's different now. Don't get me wrong, because I think now it's not just the what task is done; it's how tasks are done.
Hmm.
I think that's a big difference. But technology will continue to displace things as it improves, and humans just have to adjust.
Are you optimistic about it? Because I'm really optimistic.
I don't. I think I feel both ways. Like, on the one hand, I'm optimistic. I think it can, when used properly, do amazing things. On the other hand, if you use it improperly, it's terrifying,
Yeah.
like genuinely terrifying. If you know particularly people in positions of power, want to use it to further themselves and their power, like, and other people don't know what to trust. Like, how that's really really disturbing to me. And I also think there are big question marks about the environmental impact.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that to speak, cogently, but I do think AI also, we have the means to help solve those problems using the literal technology that might be causing those problems, right? Like,
Yeah. I definitely don't know much about it. Um, the environmental impact. Um, the the knowing what to trust part. I remember when first like image
mm-hmm,
creation.
mm-hmm,
It was, at first, it was just still images, and then it turned to video. And uh, I've talked to some people, and they had a similar experience at the beginning. It was like, I can tell, and there's some pride in that. And you're like, you're not gonna get me, not
yeah,
today. And nowadays, I'll be watching a video. I'm like, what? And about the third time watching it, I'm like, that person has 8 fingers. Like, no, this isn't
yeah.
real.
And it only took 3 to 4 years to get there.
Yeah.
That's, to me, what the most crazy part is.
I feel like though we're just gonna get to a point where we're gonna see videos or hear audio, and then we're gonna go, okay, that exists. Is it true?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna move on, and we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna find a way to verify it. Or you're gonna be more inclined to have real world experiences instead of seeing something on the internet. Um, Maybe that's a benefit in the future that appears is everything gets so saturated with things that aren't real that everyone goes, this isn't it. There is no point in being here because it's just a cycle of things that don't exist. So, I want to actually see something that is real. And how do you do that? You turn this off and you go outside
Sure.
and you do something.
Yeah.
Um, but what about the what is it? LLMs or the kind of word models?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What about that and how they're used?
I think, I mean, to me, I think those are so incredible. Like, again, they have so much potential. I use them significantly to study, right? I literally just talk back and forth to a machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a conversation. I think there's a lot of amazing potential that it has. Again, everything has downsides, right? And a lot of the time it's for younger people who don't understand, or they just need a friend, or they need somebody to talk to, and suddenly there's a machine that's listening,
Mm-hmm.
or listening's, I'm going to put that in quotes, right? But um, so there's potential downsides, but there's also potential upsides. Like, if you program it properly, maybe somebody just does need somebody to listen, and it can help alleviate some problems that, like, mental health counselors have in terms of, like, capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And you could kind of triage people, and they can have this thing to listen, this machine that can listen and they can talk to, and then they can get to a real human. So the technology, it just astounds me. Like, every day, it just blows me away, the things that it's capable of and will be capable of if we continue to use it properly.
I feel like people have more agency and capability now to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Because like for this is not AI. If you're listening to it, it is not fake. I promise you, the video isn't AI. If it was AI, it wouldn't be low quality.
I don't make this promise. I could be AI.
Yeah, he's not real.
Yeah.
Uh, but like I get transcripts. I think I don't know if there's any AI associated to it. I think on YouTube or Spotify they might call it AI,
Yeah,
even
I
though.
don't even know what is AI anymore, right? Like everything's AI these days.
But I'll take those transcripts and I'm like, can you make a summary of it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then I can verify on like all the things we talked about, and like I can make sure that what's going on the internet isn't like too crazy,
Yeah.
and I didn't forget something, and it's definitely a lot more peace of mind. And otherwise, I would have to either watch all the way through it or have someone else do that.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of potential to alleviate workflow. I mean, I do that when I have a meeting with my clients. I have AI transcript it, and when it's done, I can send them an email that says, "Here's what we talked about. Here's your next steps." And that takes me about maybe 5 minutes after a phone call,
hmm
and I don't even have to take notes during the call. I can just look at them and actually talk to them and have a conversation with them and have this AI take the notes for me. So like that to me is incredibly powerful, and it saves me so much time and it gives them something valuable.
hmm
And I don't, it's saves me so much effort to do.
hmm. Saying stuff like that like gives me the idea that writing emails and writing things down, like a lot of it is going to become obsolete
Mm-hmm.
or less
Mm-hmm.
efficient, so that it's just pushed out.
Yep.
And if I don't write a bunch of emails and I don't keep that skill up, I'm going to lose that skill, at least personally.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're seeing that already. Like people don't write letters, like old-fashioned letters that they mail
Yeah,
anymore, and so you see that already with the way people text. You know, like the word "you" is now just a letter "u,"
for some
and for
people.
some people,
I hold on.
sure, yeah, I do too. But of course, I'm older. I learned to literally write in cursive or whatever. But I mean, that's just things evolve like that, and so we might start to see texting become obsolete. Maybe grammar will
Mm,
come back because people just talk to the thing and it'll text for them, and they'll start talking in grammar again. I don't know, but
hmm,
you would definitely see. I mean, that's how languages evolve and how things change over time.
hmm. I found out this past, it was probably I think now a month ago, texting somebody, and they commented, they were like, "You text so normal." I was like,
Right.
"What do you mean normal?" It's like,
Right.
"Well, everyone texts like abnormal.
Yeah.
It's like shortened words
Yeah.
and no punctuation. It's like if I have a pause in my head when I'm saying it, there is a comma
Hmm.
or there is a period,
Yeah.
and I end everything with a period. Um, Things aren't always spelled right, or the grammar isn't 100% correct, but they were like, "Yeah, it's kind of strange." I was like, then I had the thought, "Huh." Have I texted someone like a single sentence and put period at the end, and then it makes it sound different? Like, are they hearing it now? Like,
Oh,
blah blah
interesting.
blah period. I'm like, hard end this
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. I never thought about that.
Um,
But I type the same way. I type like I would have written a handwritten note.
mhm. Hmm. Um, what about vets in the world using AI? Other than because we use, and I've seen people in the clinic use
Sure.
the auditory
Yep.
to like transcription
Yeah.
method. What else can you use AI for?
I mean, the low hanging fruit is things like medical records, um, client consultations, like client communications. That's an obvious one. It's an easy one. I, I think most veterinarians should be using this honestly already. I think diagnostic thought process is a big one. So again, a guy I was talking to, he was working with a client. He used his AI, and he was just having a conversation with him, and he was just having just building rapport and asking the guy, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" The guy was like a butcher, and he was looking at the clinical signs of the dog, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on." Turns out AI actually helped solve it because the dog had gotten into a toxicity, and I couldn't even tell you which one off the top of my head, but a very kind of like rare toxicity that occurs um, secondary to preservatives that are commonly used by butchers.
Hmm.
And the AI made that leap, and it said, "Hang on, butcher, these are clinical signs. Think about this toxin." So I
Like
do,
I know they use like nitrates sometimes
yeah,
in
and
like
that might be
sausage
it. I don't,
making.
yeah, but it's
Hmm.
something that he talked about just in passing and building rapport and having a
Hmm.
conversation that he was a butcher. And then it came back and AI was like, hey, think about this. So I think there's a lot of potential for AI to help with our problem solving. I think there's a lot of potential for AI in image recognition, so radiographs, clinical pathology, and that's nothing new, honestly. You think about like clinical pathology is a great example. When you stick a blood sample into a machine and it tells you whatever 70% neutrophils and 2% eosinophils, like you're just trusting a machine.
Yeah.
AI is no different in that regard. It's just a different technology. So I think there's a lot of potential for it to be used there. Definitely with research, I think we're going to start to see taking large amounts of data and being able to consolidate it. AI can do wonderfully at stuff like that. I mean, maybe I hesitate to say, but maybe even triaging things. Like, I do think having a human listen is still going to be vitally important, but if there's certain things it can listen to where it can say, contact the veterinarian immediately versus you got an hour,
Hmm.
maybe there's potential there. I think those ones are a little scarier to me than the low hanging fruit of like medical records.
Yeah, because I imagine the question of liability when it gets it wrong.
Yeah, there's always, yeah, that's true. And that's no different than when your technician answers the phone, does the same thing.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not the same, obviously, but there's similarities.
Hmm.
But I guess it's just when you're thinking about it really comes down to what are the jobs that people should be doing and what are the jobs that we can outsource to machine.
Hmm.
And I think that's really the questions we have to be asking with these new technologies.
Hmm. I see benefits.
Yeah,
Um, and a lot of people like get scared that jobs are going to go away.
they always have.
Yeah, and new ones pop up,
Yep.
but also like jobs don't. Some jobs go away and they disappear.
Yes.
Like no one typewrites anymore. Um, but some jobs just like they kind of like the phrase used earlier. They move laterally
Yeah.
and they just change.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine a world where people do not study radiology. Like the radiologists will not disappear because the idea that the images will appear and then the machine will read it and tell you exactly perfectly, not missing any detail,
Right.
that it's what it finds. And then even after that, no one's curious of what is on the actual image. Like I can't imagine that
Yeah.
happens.
I think we'll lose jobs like scribes, medical scribes. But I do also think that opens up the ability for that person to learn more technical skills.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take that person who's been standing in a room taking notes and teach them how to hold a dog and teach them how to give an injection. And maybe we can get more support staff and technicians and veterinary nurses and veterinary assistants and all that instead of the scribe.
Mm-hmm.
Computers can be a scribe.
It's almost like the we are designing tools to replace the monotonous tasks of the world. And I imagine I think of the programmers of the and engineers of the world because I've had a few discussions with like active engineers and programmers, and they're like, yes, there is AI that can code. It's not going to solve the hardest problems of the world, at
Sure.
least not right now.
No.
And they're not being used for high level problems because they get it wrong.
Yep.
And then somebody has to go back and fix it. And by that time you fix it, you could have just solved it yourself.
Yeah.
And but they have it doing like monotonous tasks that would take them hours, which are simple. They're just repetitive, and you get in the AI to do it just real quick. And
Yeah.
um, I've heard a lot of people say like, "Oh, this sucks," and there are certain aspects of that world that make it tricky of like entering the job market as an engineer is like it's hard because being a junior engineer, like that was what you did. Now what are you going to do?
Right.
It just needs to be replaced with something else,
Right.
which is a problem that can be solved, I hope. Not an engineer myself, but the I feel like I hate to say get rid of, but getting rid of the need to have somebody do the monotonous work just frees them up to do things that are more impactful.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is, again, AI is the dumbest today it'll ever be. Like today, maybe it can't do that higher level stuff. Tomorrow it might be able to. And then the question is, what is the higher level stuff that humans will be doing
Yeah.
instead? Because humans will just have to switch what it is that we do instead.
Yeah. And then I feel like you get in the world of, well, is it possible for everyone not to work? And then what are
Well,
we going to do with income? And it's like, I don't.
yeah, that's way down the road.
It's not even worth like talking about, I feel like, because kind of like the idea of the class of 20, the class you teach, the
Yeah.
Vet Med 2030.
Yeah.
Now you having to change the name.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
You should really make it 3,000. You
I
guaranteed you're not hitting it.
yeah, on the one hand, I kind of like the idea of it still being called 2030 because it makes me laugh.
You're going to hit 2034 and then someone's like,
Yeah, they're
"We
going to
know
ask
what
questions.
happened."
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, well, welcome to red tape and academia, I guess,
Is it that hard to change the name of a class?
I have no idea. Honestly, I imagine it's not hard. It's just not at the top of the list.
Fair.
I'm guessing it's just one of those things that slips through the cracks and it comes up once a semester and I laugh at it and then I move on.
Mm-hmm. What other things other than like AI are you looking towards teaching for the class, the 2030 class?
That's a great question. I need to reach out to them. I don't even know who's enrolled yet, but I love trying to make the class as much as possible stuff they're interested in. I love using examples that are things outside the box that you don't think are going to affect veterinary medicine. So self-driving cars is one of my favorites, right? You don't think it's going to affect veterinary medicine because it seems unrelated, but why not? There's no reason we couldn't use that technology to further veterinary medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really fun one. I do think private practice continues to change, and so that'll be an interesting one to always talk about, particularly, starting this year with some of the like mid-level practitioner VPA stuff coming in, the veterinary physician's assistant essentially.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be a big one to talk about because that's on the forefront of veterinarians' minds.
Is it like going to be is it actually going to be a thing?
In Colorado, it started, and I think Arkansas, don't quote me on that. I think they passed something as well.
Do you know a lot about it?
Not enough,
Okay.
honestly. I think there's going to be it's going to raise questions of who does what jobs,
Mm-hmm.
quite frankly, within the clinic. How are people going to structure? Who's going to do those jobs? How's that going to be similar or different to a veterinarian? How's it going to be similar or different to a technician? A lot of questions, more questions than answers right now. I do think that'll be a really interesting one. Telehealth is going to continue to be interesting.
Yeah.
Of how can you cross state lines with telemedicine? When can you? What counts as this or that? The interaction between that and the law will be interesting. There's just a million things out there, right? It's hard to. And I could pick things that are all completely irrelevant and have no idea. Who knows?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you pick a topic that it turns out isn't that big of a deal in the future, and it kind of like it happens, and everyone's like, "Oh, this like it works," and things are fine, then at least you like put people in the position to critically think.
Yeah, that's my goal. Really, is just to think about it and have fun, and do things that are interesting.
I should have taken this class. Admittedly, I did not. It was because I had other classes I was interested in taking among this class. But no, that would be fun.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm trying to change it up every year, do something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And even the way I teach, last year we did more group presentations, and I wanted to give that a try. And I think this year I'm going to try something a little different and just see what works, and see what doesn't.
Admittedly, group presentations and group projects don't really bode well with like students in general.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do some small group presentations this year at the end of the semester, but change it up how I did it compared to last semester.
It's definitely something like projects are important, but man, so like I think this past semester we had 4 or 5 different groups, and like I was like, which group is this again? Like anesthesia, and like we're all like, are we in the right place? Are we talking to the right people? And it's already like 3/4 of the way through the semester, and it's like, okay, well, let's get this meeting done, then go to the next group project.
Right.
But I had another question for you, or another topic. Shoot, it might come to me. Is it VHC?
Yes. Yep.
is it a conference
Yes.
technically?
Yep. Veterinary healthcare communication.
This happened for context last week.
Last week.
It was all week long,
Yes.
correct?
4.5 days.
Okay. What does VHC stand for?
Yeah. So it's the organization, Veterinary Healthcare Communication. So it used to be. So it was started. Oh, I don't know what year. I'm sorry. Before my time, early 2000s maybe. Bayer, like the drug company,
Yeah.
started a human healthcare communication wing, I guess, or organization or something like that. It then branched into a veterinary one. So IHC was the name of it. I don't remember what the I stood for,
Okay.
but let's call it International Healthcare Communication. I actually don't remember. Institute. I bet it's Institute. Institute for Healthcare Communication. Anyway, that eventually dissolved, and so A&M picked up the intellectual property to be able to continue it and reformed it as Veterinary Healthcare Communication. And so it is the conference is a train the trainer program where we help teach faculty and staff at other universities and A&M as well how to teach communication and professional skills in their curriculum.
Um, I think you described it as like essentially what we do in our professional skills class, and it definitely felt somewhat similar
Yeah, so
when I was there for that.
we do have the participants go into a scene with an actor essentially and work through that scene. And then we kind of layer on top of that the coaching aspect. So that person, the person who would be working with the actor, has a coach that works through what are their goals. And so we're trying to teach them how to coach, if you will.
Okay, that was I couldn't really tell the dynamic because I was in. You asked me to be one of those
Yeah.
actors.
And you did a fantastic job.
I had a bone to pick with you
Oh, really?
about that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But no, I remember I walked in the first room with you, and there were 4 people there, and I was like, I can recognize the person that I'm going to be acting with. What are the other 3 people here? And then like coaching, like who people have roles and
Yeah.
what they're looking for. I'm assuming from what I got is one person is like leading the room, and 2 people are there and have designated things to look for the person who's acting in the situation that
Exactly right.
created the situation.
Yep.
Um, why would you want to have people in that kind of role?
So it's a very, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but kind of a traditional means of teaching communication skills is in the small group. Admittedly, we don't do this at A&M, and that's a lot of it to do with time and class size. Like with 180, no, I say that actually. I think my understanding is Ross actually does something very similar. They have a lot of people dedicated to actually do this small group thing, and they have a class size like 200 plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So maybe that's an excuse. I don't know, but it's not the way we do it. But it's a very traditional means of communication teaching where you'd have this small group facilitation. So one person in the act with an actor with other people watching, and then you'd have a coach coaching that person who's with the actor. And so this adds that extra layer of a facilitator teaching the coach who then coaches the participant.
Okay. And these are all like all 3 of those levels are faculty from different universities.
Yep, faculty or staff at various veterinary schools in the United States.
And
probably beyond. I don't know if we had beyond this year.
But
we have in the past. We've had England, Australia, etc. have participated.
I'm assuming they rotate with roles throughout the day.
Yep.
I mean, it was very interesting. It was cool. Now, granted, you you initially asked me, "Is like, hey, can you act in these situations?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? I'm happy to help out." And then I read the situations like, I am the worst.
Yeah, I guess I failed to tell you what your role was.
And then I think it was because we did your room.
Yeah.
And things went great. And then I went to the next room, and things also went great. And I was in there with Dr. Cornell, and part of me was like, I never acted before. I don't know what that really means. And then I thought about it. I think she mentioned how they were from different like universities, and they are faculty, and they work within the professional skills world for their institution. And then I was like, I am acting like the worst student in front of a myriad of people who are running like all of the vet students, like, or vet universities, and you know, down the line they could be like, "Huh, Tyler, where'd that name come from? Huh, it kind of doesn't give off good vibes. I
Yeah.
remember a Tyler once,
Yeah.
and it was not a good situation. And so I left that, and I actually felt really bad
Oh,
for
really?
because I was acting not like I was
Yeah.
acting the way they wanted me to.
Yeah.
Um,
It
and yeah, it was. I was like, I would never say these things.
yeah. No, it's I mean, it's a great experience for them. So uh, it's a 4.5 day conference. On Tuesday, we do standard history taking practice. So
Hmm.
exactly the same thing, but just very brief history taking. And then on Thursday, we let them write their own scenarios.
Yeah.
And so a lot of folks do scenarios that they find challenging, conversations they need to have with somebody, a difficult conversation, or maybe they have to give feedback to a resident or something. And so they just want to practice, or maybe they've had a conversation in the past. They're like, oh, that didn't go well. Maybe I could just practice it now and see how it could have gone different. So, it's scenarios that they need and that they want. And I try my best to put the right person to the role, right? Like if somebody's asking for if somebody who's a fourth year student age, I can't grab one of our, you know,
Other
senior
faculty.
actors,
Yeah.
yeah, or a faculty member to jump into that role. It just doesn't feel the same. So
Yeah.
grabbing somebody who is a veterinary student and using them because they can talk the talk is also really important. And a lot of, our actors here in town, they can play the role of a client, but they just don't know the world of a veterinarian to be able to sound like a veterinarian in those conversations.
Hmm. Yeah. The it was funny. I think after both scenarios, because I only did two, and they asked me. He's like, "What do you think about it?" And I was like, I wasn't thinking that I was going to give my opinion, but it was all the same skills
Yeah.
that we learn. And
Yep.
so I was like, here's what I think, and then
Yep.
I always ended with, "But if you don't think so, like, it's okay." So, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, our goal with it also is that they can then go back and teach those same skills to their students too.
yeah.
And so by using them in those contexts, that really helps them to realize, okay, if I was to go back and have this curriculum in my place, however it looks for that school, here's what we would do.
It's kind of hard to tell, like, being only from A&M, like A&M's vet school, because this isn't a thing that happens at undergrad, but um, from only being here, it sounds like the professional skill, like, aspect of it is so strong that it's like it is influencing those other universities, and it's hard to tell that it is so is groundbreaking the right word?
Yeah. I think we're very fortunate that we have it inundated in the curriculum. And I say inundated in a good way. That has a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way. But we are very fortunate that we have it throughout the curriculum and we try to weave in other content with it.
Hmm.
There are some schools that get very little practice. I mean, like maybe one opportunity with an actor at all, period. There are other schools that get quite a lot, right? So we're not the first school to do this by any stretch of the imagination. We're probably not doing it best, honestly. We're doing the best we can with what we
Hmm.
have. And there's a lot of other schools that do things very differently that works for them. And I think it's fun to be able to help other schools, particularly other faculty who maybe are stepping into this role and they've never done it before and they're not really sure how to start, where to start, how to teach this.
Hmm.
It's nice to help some of them that just need assistance learning how to dip their toe in the water.
Because it is a unique topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
And, that's one of the challenges with many of us in academia is we're not taught to teach, right? You take just take whatever, a random cardiologist. They're taught how to be a cardiologist and they're probably very good at reading ECGs and performing echoes and doing heart surgery. But they didn't go to school to learn how to teach. They learned
mhm.
how to be a cardiologist or whatever, anatomist, botanist, like whatever, right? Like outside of veterinary medicine too. So I think that's one of the things that's really challenging when you step into academia is like, oh, I need to not only do the thing I know how to do, but now I have to learn how to teach it to other people.
Because you did a master's in education.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of times in kind of school in general, but more in vet school because it's more demanding. The we we teach each other, different things because we have strong suits in different
Yeah.
things, and sometimes like this thing isn't clicking. I'm gonna call this person. It's like, hey, can you explain this? Or we're talking things through, and someone says something that's wrong. And we're like, hey, this is wrong. Let's like go through and make sure that we can get it correct in like the nicest way possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like there is communicating and in a way educating as at least part of the what is the ecosystem of being in education itself. But after doing your master's and actually learning about how to teach in a very structured way, is it even would you still say like what you learned there is even levels above what you get exposed to as just communicating to other students?
I don't know about levels above. I think a lot of teaching is structure, which I might not be the best at, to be fair. Like, but I think it's, I mean, I think what you mentioned about teaching each other is huge and like really, really important because that's something that we're all going to do our whole lives, right? When you get out into practice and you're like, oh my gosh, here's this case. I need some help. You're going to call up a buddy and be like, hey, what do you think about this case? And, you know, I mean, I do the same thing with law right now. When I have a case and like some questions about a contract, I'll call up my buddy and be like, what do you think? Would you change this language or would you just leave it be? And so that's a really important skill to have and to learn. And I along those lines in teaching, I found myself, especially recently, like moving away from lectures and slides. Like I feel like veterinary students get enough of that. And yeah, okay, you guys get a lot of group work too, and so probably there's no way to, you can't win, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
like, there's enough lectures and slides. Like, if I can get away from that and just do more like group activities in class that keep attention and they're fun, I think that's really important sometimes.
Mm. Yeah, I also think like being from the student side still that you can do everything in the world. If someone doesn't want to be there, they're not
Oh yeah,
gonna show up
oh yeah,
or they're not gonna pay attention.
yeah. I will riot the day anybody tries to make me take attendance. Like, I am very much, if you want to be there and learn. If you want to be there and just sit and be passive, I can't make you learn. And if you don't want to be there, go do something else. Like, I can't. I'm gonna teach who wants to be there.
When we have professors that do take attendance and they are pretty adamant of making it a grade of showing up, I'm like, hey, you know what? Good for you for sticking in there and that
Yep.
idea because
Mm.
now with the world of things being recorded and you can go back and even the idea of all of education being a pre-recorded series of lectures, I I've heard of the idea of certain. I don't want to call them universities because I don't think that they have those kind of titles, but they are forms of higher level education, and it's just pre-recorded
Mm-hmm.
lectures and taught by what they advertise as leaders in their field, just like a university would have.
Right.
But instead of sitting there and every semester giving the same set of lectures, because for the most part, a lot, especially for basic classes, the fundamentals
Yeah, it's
don't
not gonna. Yep.
change.
Yep. Tibia
Um,
still a tibia.
and for a lot of classes, like I'm taking this math 140 because I need to take all the. It's required for me to get my bachelor's, and the math is not hard. I'm not gonna go up and be like, wow, this algebraic formula that we learned in high school is just it's really riveting and I want to learn more professional like that doesn't happen
Yeah.
and so at least in with those kind of uh, constructed environments just like it's pre-recorded and it's very cheap I think is what it's mostly designed for
Mm-hmm.
and now like especially at the beginning of vet school I was like I'm going to go to every class and I'm going to be like a good student because that's what good students do. They go to class. And then now I'm like, I know people are doing fantastic and they're super smart and they're doing great. And I would label them as great students and they don't go to class.
Sure.
And then I know people are just as great and they go to every class. And I think the only reason I go to almost every class is because the guys I know, they're very adamant on going to every class. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm very impressionable. I'm going to stick it
Yeah.
out with you guys. So
I think there's a lot to be said for, first of all, I think there's a lot to be said for like everybody has different ways that they learn and like times of days, even. Like, I am usually useless in the afternoon. Like, I'm really good in the morning, and then the afternoon, I'm like, I'm tired, I don't think well, and then I'm fine at night. And so, like,
Mm.
that's just when I learn best. I don't study at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm not going to learn at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Hmm.
So I think that's important. Like, if people feel like they can learn just as well from at home on a video, who am I to stop them? But I do think the other thing you mentioned is arguably just as important, which is that social aspect. I think that's so huge, and that's something you can't get as well. I don't want to say you can't, but as well if all your stuff is just pre-recorded lectures. You can go out, I'm sure you can go out and find your network and make something happen, but it's a lot harder than when you're in class every day with the same people and you really get to know them. And that's a really important part of not just veterinary medicine, but life. Like,
Because you did law school online, right?
I did, but it was an actual class with real humans, like
Mm.
on Zoom. So it wasn't just like completely passive.
So did you have an opportunity to make those connections?
Yep. I have some very, very good friends from law school.
Okay.
I have one who's in Florida. I actually got to go visit her when I was at a
Hmm.
conference. So that was lovely. I have another who we did a study abroad together out in Poland. She was stationed in Germany because she wasn't stationed in Germany. Her husband was stationed in Germany. So she lived out there for a little bit. So I got to see her
Hmm.
there. And yeah, it was lovely. I mean, we had small classes, 24, 25 people. And it was like, it was on Zoom, but like your camera was on. The professor would cold call you. You talked to
Hmm.
people. So they, I will say my law school did a very nice job, in my opinion, of creating that intimate environment where you got to know people and you could still make good friends, even though you were online and separated by thousands of miles
Hmm.
and multiple time zones.
That's interesting. Um, yeah, I bet it feels good as a professor to have an interactive class as compared to a class that is either non-existent or just is present but not active.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it though. You know, there are certain times where you just read the room. If it's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, the day before an anatomy exam, like I'm not going to sit there and pull teeth
Yeah.
when people don't want to be there. So I'll either do my best to work on a topic that'll be not entertaining, maybe entertaining and educational and interesting. And if not, then we can all move on with life and like, because I get it. Like I've been in that seat, and that's human nature.
Yeah.
It's hard to have that much focus all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna still try and go to every class I can. I also get a lot of anxiety if I don't go to a class.
Yeah, you got to do what works for you.
It feels very strange. I feel like I'm missing something,
Mm.
even though I know people who I think seeing them on campus is a what is happening? Why are you here?
Right,
Kind of, and it's like
right.
when in reality it should be opposite. And so or should it not? I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
to each their own. I think. I mean, like, but you have to do what works for you, and they can
mhm.
do what works for them, right?
Yeah, yeah. We've been going for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been enjoyable.
do you have any final thoughts for the audience? For anybody?
For the Korean who's gonna call me out on my 감사합니다. Uh, I hope your transcription doesn't have to figure out what I just attempted to say poorly, because the subtitles aren't gonna work on that one. No, I mean just have fun, like whatever it is. Like honestly, that's one of my biggest things. Like veterinary medicine or just life or whatever. Just enjoy yourself, have fun. We talked about travel. That's really really important to me. Like I'm really passionate about travel. Like get out there and see the world and meet other people and see how the world works from through your own eyes. And I don't know, but have fun and enjoy yourself, I guess.
It's a good mindset.
I like to try. I like to keep it simple.
Mm. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
enjoyed it. This was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.